for the rest.
Hey,
but
Yoko.
basically, he's still.
M. Night kicked that guy's ass, dude. Any day, dude.
Can I get a honest and sincere and professional countdown from somebody, please?
Yes, hello.
The Fast Furious Tokyo Drift, Too Fast, Too Furious, and The Fast and the Furious. Go.
Let's start backwards. You got to go
Hear
fast.
what my teacher calls Malo and La Cabeza.
Malo la cabeza?
We'll do it in
with
Farsi.
with other ones as well.
Se,
In Farsi?
ek, do, in 29,
All right.
28,
I remember when I was 20.
27,
27 was a tough
26,
Dream
26, I
Master.
got very lucky.
25, which I'm sure Carlos
Freddy's
is.
Revenge.
Welcome back
to the Tower Cast.
Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, I thought I was introing it.
Why would you be introing it?
I thought you were taking a break. Welcome back to Carlos's intro and go. You're on.
Welcome back to the WatchTower podcast, the film review podcast from Tower Productions. Thank you guys for joining us. This is where we geek out about films of all shapes and sizes, and you'll come to.
Yes,
if you
we
listen
do.
to our last episode, we went into this pretentious zone, and this time around we're gonna get a little more mainstream, a little more streamlined with our choice here.
We're diverse.
Before we get into the film and we introduce the film, I got to introduce my fellow panelists here. We have Mr. Christian Yoko Moto Medina.
Woo!
Hello, fellows and fillets.
We have Mr. Michael Lalo.
I'm the one with glasses high.
That's the one.
Hey, there he is.
We have my fellow co-host, Mr. John Eric Castro.
AK 9.5 finger Castro.
9.5 finger. Man, you know, fun story about that finger. We're gearing up to do these reshoots for a film we just shot, and we're over here. It's in the middle of the desert, you know, so it's, you know, we know what we're gearing up for, and then we get a text 2 days before the reshoots, and Castro's like, "Hey, so you know, we got a bit of a damper on the reshoots." And I'm like, "Oh no, what happened? You okay?" Castro's prone to injury. Let me just add that. Castro's broken his leg. Castro's dropped stuff on his hands. Like, so he's prone to injury. And then he texts and he sends us a grimy picture of this cut finger with blood all over it.
No. If you remember, the text went, "Do we need my hand for the reshoot?" And it's like, good God.
Exactly. I was still down to shoot, even with half a finger.
And then I think I was like, well, we could work around it, but why? And then he sends us a picture, and I'm telling him, you know what? We all talked about it collectively, and we're like, well, even if we shoot around his hand, what if sand gets into his finger and it gets infected or something? Let's just not put him through that. So
yeah, because I had about maybe 2 or 3 shark.
I thought you were gonna need stitches. I legit thought you were gonna need stitches. Like,
I still think I do need stitches, but I'm writing it.
You're just writing it out with like a paper towel and diapers.
It's a very Mexican set mentality.
Exactly, man. It's that Mexican mentality, dude. Just wrap it in something, dude.
La pusiste a sábila.
One could say that.
Dale un poquito de agüita caliente.
All right, cool.
I mean, one could say that your finger got split.
Oh, nice transition, boys.
That's a beautiful transition
right now.
Oh, God.
We're working with the film today.
It's getting toasty.
Yeah, as Yoko put it, we're going to be talking about Split today. This psychological horror thriller by M. Night Shyamalan, written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. This was Castro's voice. He's rooting. He's happy. He knows.
Top 5, maybe top 3 character films on my list.
Interesting.
I will say, every time each of us gets a choice, like every time it's each of our choices, I think we all get very excited. You could tell in the messages or like, so like, and I could really tell like Castro was like, "Hey guys, like since Sunday, like you guys ready? You guys ready? You guys?" And it's
I'm actually just interested because obviously I like it because of the acting, but I want to see how you like the directing of this M. Night that you hate so much.
I don't. You know what? I think M. Night. Unfortunately, I think Night's just become kind of the running joke with directors. And
whoa! Elaborate.
No, wait. Let me explain why. I think he's just become the running joke of being the twist guy, and he embraces that, right? He embraces that, like he hates it. Like
What about this movie? This one doesn't have a twist.
Hold on.
Yes, it does.
That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it.
Wait.
He gives it to you on the trailer, which is
here's the thing. First of all, M. Night hates being called the twist guy. He hates it. Like he like, you know, he hates it. But let me just preface everything by saying this, and then I guess I'll kick off the first impressions just because.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, Castro, I hadn't seen this movie since Sandra and I saw it in the theaters. When did it come out?
2016.
17? Yeah. 16.
So since then, I hadn't rewatched it. And I even told Sandra, like, hey, I got to watch Split for the podcast. You want to watch it with me? And she's like, and she likes these types of movies. She said, nah, like, go ahead and watch it without me. Like, I remember it. Like, it's fine. Just watch it without me. So
before you go, what did you think the first time you saw it? Was it just kind of one of those?
That's kind of what I want to get to. I didn't want to if I'm being honest, I didn't want to rewatch it. Or not that I didn't want to. I was just very reluctant, like, I have to fucking sit through this again. What? And then wait. But the thing is, I remember liking it a lot. I remember walking out of the theater like, oh shit. Okay. You know, like that was pretty great. So, but for some reason, there is just this stigma in my mind, like, I don't know if I want to put myself through this, you know. For the podcast, I was kind of like, if I'm being honest, I was dreading it a little bit. And then once I finished the film, I had the exact same thought that I had, the original thought of watching out the theater, which was this. I remember thinking, walking out of the theater and thinking, oh, okay, this is what's going to bring M. Night back. Like, this is what's reestablishing him as a good director.
I'll give you that, yeah, because he had a couple of stinkers.
A few stinkers. And that's what I've always said about Night, dude. Like, he's hit or miss for me. He's hit or miss for me. And my first exposure to Night was The Sixth Sense, and I love The Sixth Sense. You know, and I know a lot of people love Signs, and but just The Sixth Sense, obviously, that's
where the where it was born, the M. Night Shyamalan twist.
The appreciation for he was a ghost the whole time. Spoilers. But yeah, I remember just rewatching it.
It's fully Die Hard for me.
I remember just rewatching it and feeling like after I watched it today, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what's like. This, if I'm being honest, as a respected filmmaker, this is what saved his career. I think
for sure.
I think with
it was the 1-2 punch that solidified its comeback.
Yeah, his comeback, right? Like his comeback was solidified through this. And look, I'm speaking kind of impartially because I haven't seen Unbreakable and I haven't seen Glass. I've just seen Split as its own film. I haven't seen either of those, so I can't really speak on the trilogy as a whole. I know the connections it has.
Yeah, that's what I kind of wanted to talk.
I know what it's about. I know what they're about.
But I feel like it was forced.
You think that it was forced?
Yeah, like I love M. Night. We'll talk about the ending right now, but I felt like he's trying to get in the bandwagon of, you know, making a trilogy, making, you know.
Yeah. It felt very
the ending fuckers.
Just the ending. Because I'll share my thoughts on the film. I thought it was really impressive. But yeah, that ending felt very much like the superhero films that you wait at the end and then it's a one character, you're like, oh, that's the next movie. Like it felt very much like that.
Done without it. You definitely could have done without it, but I feel like it's almost like the anti superhero thing. Like M. Night was doing that. It sounds like for Split and for Glass.
For Glass especially, that's where
he was setting up his you know, Shyamalan verse or whatever. You call it
Shyamalan-verse.
Hey, please correct yourself on that one.
His Night verse. I don't know what's the best thing. He was setting up this
M. Night Shyamalan-verse.
The Shyamalan-verse.
He already tried that with the Night Chronicles, and that didn't work.
It didn't quite work, right? But that's what I mean. It's like it felt like he was being smart as a producer because it didn't work then for a reason, right? But now with superhero culture and the films that are succeeding, I feel like as a producer, because he is his own producer too. And he kind of co-produced this with Jason Blum, which was very unique and very smart for something like this. So I think that he was just being smart as a producer to set himself up during the superhero era.
Yeah.
I think that was a smart move, but I get why you guys feel it's forced. I totally agree. But Night doesn't, though this was his comeback film, I don't think he cares about proving himself anymore. He just cares about.
Oh, no, yeah, for sure. He's like way past
body of work, right? Anyways, I'm sorry I interrupted you on your thoughts.
Yeah, my bad, dude. We started like at the end, but go for it.
No. Like honestly, I remember wanting to watch this film, and I just remember, I guess, like with school and everything being busy, and just it kind of passed, and it was always something I would hope to revisit. And I remember when the rest of the trilogy was kind of coming out, and I know my family saw it, and they were really big fans of it, but I just never. I didn't know if it was worthy of revisiting, which is kind of nice about the podcast that I get to go and like.
Careful with your words, dude. Worthy.
I'm just saying.
No, like, I was on the same boat.
In that neck thing,
I was on that same boat. Like it felt like a good popcorn flick. You know, it felt like.
Oh damn, man! All these daggers.
No, they're not
popcorn flick.
There are things that like
It's one of those that makes you put down your popcorn.
No.
And think,
Listen,
like,
listen, Castro. The thing about popcorn flicks is that as much as us filmmakers don't like to admit it, it's what's keeping the movie theaters open, dude. So they're not a bad thing. It's a genre picture, and it's not a bad thing. It's a genre picture. It's what it is.
So what do you mean? Like you're saying it's kind of like a what do you call it? A thriller? A thriller?
It's a thriller for sure. But
thriller.
If you would call it that, I think he perfects it.
I feel. Oh no, yeah. No. He's a good storyteller.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like in terms of storytelling and bringing M. Night back as a storyteller, I think Split did both. I think Split brought him back. Like, oh, he is a good storyteller, and it's a popcorn flick that anybody could see.
That's why I wanted to ask you guys about the script,
like the medium. Here's the cool thing about it is that the reason is
we'll get to Yoko.
It's got a $9 million budget. It's a $9 million budget, and it made 280, almost 280 million. So $9 million budget for him to have. Yeah, $9 million, dude. That's all he got. And this was a pretty big film in terms. I mean, think about it. One location. You're locked in the basement.
Yeah, it was
exactly. That's what I preach. It's the idea. You need a house, right? It's a small little.
He made it so impressive for. I mean, what minimal it does feel like. I mean,
that's why I say on the directing front, dude. Like I was happy. I was actually like, oh shit, okay, he did use of this. He did. And I'll get into the directing front now because I picked up on a lot of shit that I didn't pick up on the first time. But Yoko, what were your first impressions?
Yokomoto, bring that thought over.
So in my case, Unbreakable is one of my favorite scripts of all time.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
It's one of my top 5 scripts. Like I know it does suffer from some Shyamanisms, but apart from that, like it's still like it is one of those really good scripts. And it came out like right before the first Spider-Man movie.
Oh, okay.
So it actually was introspective about the comic book genre, even before this whole comic book renaissance that we had. That's what was so great about Unbreakable.
Right.
Okay. So like
I like the little background for sure.
I like my Shyamalan.
I like my Shyamalan. Yeah, this seems to be your type.
He
of
has some really great highs, but some disastrous lows.
Which is business, baby.
Yes,
it's business, baby.
So when I heard Split was gonna come out, we had just seen The Visit, which is really his true comeback movie.
Oh, that was before?
Yes, that was before this one. And actually, thanks to that one, that's what made him kind of.
I think other studios started looking to because I love The Visit for sure.
Well, the thing is that what he started doing right with The Visit. After he had bombed with After Earth and
oh my god, don't even
and The Last Airbender.
Austin, bleep those out, please. Bleep those out, please.
We don't talk about those in the Shyamalan the Shyamaverse.
So after all that, what he did is that he took a gamble on himself.
Yeah,
he took out a mortgage out of his house.
Whoa!
And made The Visit. That's
no
why.
Way.
So basically, that was a totally self-financed movie.
Yeah. I heard on an interview of his today that he said that basically the 2 pictures before Split, the 2 films he made before Split, he was purposefully making super low budget films compared to what he was used to, just so that he could have that creative freedom and almost like mess up on purpose, like get it out, like just expressively kind of get it out. That's what he was saying in an interview. Dude, think about it. Unbreakable. You would think about it. Unbreakable versus this, just in terms of like the capacity. Unbreakable had a $45 million budget, and then Split had a $9 million budget. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean things like Sign. I mean Mel Gibson, dude, was the biggest actor at the time, and fucking. I mean, yeah, dude, these were big pictures and big budgets. So for him to want to turn around and kind of be an artist again, just be a filmmaker again, and not because he was in the studio. He was wrapped up in the studio system, dude. He was wrapped up in Universal. He was wrapped
Airbender
up
and all
the Last Airbender. Those were all studio pictures that bombed, obviously. So for him to want to come back and just make indies, so like Yoko's saying, this independently financed film, I think that's what made Split what it is. I think that's what.
And
so
there's
I didn't even know
something
that one.
Yeah, there's something about Split that it feels like an indie picture, but it indie not in the way of
like
it feels
an indie
like
framework, like the indie bones.
It doesn't feel like indie in the way of like you could see limitations or you could see potential, but it's not there. It feels indie in the sense that there was a lot of creative freedoms kind of done to it, and they're very experimental. I was even looking at kind of like some of the camera shots and I guess the cinematography behind it. and it doesn't feel traditional, really. Like, I mean, every time I try to place it in a box and say, oh, well, it's trying to be that whole like girls trying to escape and all that, it used some really different shots that I noticed that.
You know what I think it is? You know what I think it is, though? I think it contributes to a factor. Two factors contribute to it. Number one, it's Blumhouse. I think Blumhouse has a big thing about it. I think him being in business with Jason Blum,
I agree.
It was what Jason Blum was like, kind of trying to make that transition from horror to thriller to more.
Yeah.
So I feel like he was giving more. He had enough trust in Knight to be like, all right, I'll do it. I'll distribute this. Here's the money. You know, I think it's that. That's partially one thing. It's working with a distributor, working with a production company that's going to let you have the freedom with a decent budget that you can work with. And then, you know, because Universal distributed it because it was fucking great and they made a lot of money, right? So Universal comes and picks it up. That's the one thing. The other thing is, as a director, I was looking at this thing and I was like, why are there so many POVs? Why, you know, I kept wondering about the shots a lot, just like kind of like you're saying, Lau. But the cool thing about it is it's 3 in 1. It's basically 3 genres in one, right? It's a supervillain origin story. Think like Joker, right? We're talking about like Joker.
That's like the hidden one, okay?
Right, the supervillain origin story, which, yeah, you were right. We don't discover it's a supervillain thing till we discover it's connected to the Unbreakable verse, right?
Or the Beast.
Kind of like Unbreakable.
Yeah, kind of like Unbreakable from what I've read, right? From what I've seen the character arc. The second thing about it is it's a character study. And for those of you who don't know, it really deep dives into dissociative identity disorder or multi-personality disorder. It's kind of got it goes by a couple of names, but DID, and they use that in the film a lot. DID.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a character study, and that's the factor I appreciated the most. But we'll get to that.
Exactly.
And then lastly, it's a captivity thriller. We're locked in a place, and how are we going to get out? And there's a killer after us. So if as a director, dude, that's really impressive, man. Like I'm just going to say it off the bat. It's impressive to have these 3 genres blended so organically into one, and do it successfully. Like I didn't have to tear this film apart to enjoy it. Like I enjoyed it for what it was.
Look, with that, and then on top of the actor performing,
we'll talk about that right now.
That is peak.
I remember being that. I remember like going into this, like, are we gonna? The biggest thing I remember enjoying about this film was the performance. And then this time around, I enjoyed everything else.
Yeah, that's how I did it too. Like I started watching it again, you find the details of, man, the writing, that's pretty good.
I started enjoying everything else a little more, and I have a pet peeve with the performance, but I'll get there. We'll get to that. But yeah, I think it was just impressive on that front. I think Knight was trying to be a little. He wasn't. It's because that's the thing about genre pictures. If to explain, right, a genre picture is something that, quite frankly, has a built-in audience.
Mm-hmm.
And Knight has a reputation of that because he kind of invented the modern genre picture.
Yeah.
You know, to have a built-in audience that's going to go see the film because it's an M. Night twist ending and it's a thriller, or
I'll give you that.
I like how Entourage describes a genre picture. A genre picture is something you can be in. He tells Vince, the actor, is like, you star in this picture, you smile a couple times, so girls want to fuck you, you act scared. Think of it like Shia and Disturbia. That's what a genre picture is. Right? Smile a couple times, the girls want to fuck you, and you act scared a couple times. That's what a genre picture is, right? So I feel like he kind of single-handedly like invented the modern genre picture, Knight, but he got over the tropes in a very classy way. Yeah. And I think, Yoko, you're kind of the best guy to tackle tropes in terms of like the genre picture.
Yes.
We talked about that before, but there's tropes and you have to get over them. Like, how do you get over the weak girl getting chased by the killer? How do you get over there's tropes in every, especially thriller, modern popcorn thriller. And I think Knight did a very classy job in getting over these tropes. So I don't know if you guys, that's kind of my thought first.
Even then you couldn't escape every one of them. It's almost like it's so, I think the reason tropes kind of exist is because it's a formula for what's kind of successful, and it helps people connect with the story a lot quicker. We could already start to see signs of like, this is going to be the final girl.
Signs.
No. I love you, dude. I love you.
but like we're already seeing this is going to be the final girl. Obviously, she seems to have some mentality.
She's different,
but I mean,
I'm gonna tell you, I
also,
thought it was my bad, Delo, but I thought there was gonna be a twist with her. But go for it.
Like she
No,
was
no.
inheriting the craziness.
well, I mean,
Or something to that degree.
that was kind of the twist that he was going
that was the
for
setup.
with that.
That was the setup.
Yeah,
that was a setup, exactly.
Because at the very end, it's like, oh wait, you're also like broken or something like that.
Exactly.
Like, and that's why she was able to survive. So it kind of that was your big twist that's why she gets to survive. But it's really interesting because I think with like the Final Girl and like other shows or films, it's somebody who survives because they're able to be a little bit more smart. They're able to like find inner strength and all that, but they don't really develop them that much more than that. I think
the big trope is that those characters make it out by chance. And in this particular case, she didn't make it out by chance. It was very meticulously thought out. Yeah. And the confidence she got from meticulously thinking this is because she went through something traumatic herself.
Yeah. And so it's more developed. I think, it's more developed than you see normally in like the Final Girl. So that's impressive. Just the way that you're able to take something that is going to happen and develop it beyond. So that way it's interesting and it's unique and it's yours,
Absolutely. What were we going to say, Yoko?
Here, this is one of those things where if you see Unbreakable and go with the story pattern of it, like you'd realize what kind of also what happens here with Anya Taylor-Joy and James McAvoy, where at the end you realize that apart from the fact that this is a supervillain origin story,
right?
Well, it's as well it is another hero's origin story.
Sure.
Because as well as with Unbreakable, the way they once you figure out, this was a superhero story. Oh wait, this also was a supervillain story.
Yeah.
Especially at the very end of Unbreakable, here it kind of takes it the other way, but especially because in Glass,
exactly, I was saying
that's where it all comes to fruition, where she is one of the heroines, one of the league that could be there.
I mean, look, I just want to credit that too. This was at a time when Anya Taylor-Joy was. I fucking love her, dude. I'll watch her in anything.
Yeah, this was one of her first. Well, The Witch and this one.
Yeah, right after The Witch, she jumped into this,
and you can tell, dude, right away.
She was saying that they asked her like, "How did you feel about jumping into this thriller? Like, you weren't afraid of doing The Witch and then being typecast into this genre because you're doing The Witch and then you're doing an M. Night thriller." And she was like, "You know what? I really don't think about it in those terms. I think about it in the terms of what's the script doing for me, and the script captivated me right away." And by that same token, Jimmy McAvoy, our boy Jimmy McAvoy, he says that he read the script and he thought he goes up to page 3 and he's like, fuck. Okay. So what? So M. Night is doing Saw. Really? This is the film I'm going to make. And then he's like, and then I get to page 4 of the script and I realize it's not that. And that's what turned me on to it to kind of keep developing it. Funny how we were talking about James Wan before this, right? And, off camera, I should say. But yeah, I just think
that's what I wanted to ask.
I think the script set up some really cool things. Since we're on performance, sorry, go ahead, Yoko.
Just before we actually delve way more into it, I just want to put on the table my actual first reaction of the movie. Was I skipped it in the theaters. It was just one of those that I just. For some reason, I didn't
really as big of an because you didn't know about the Unbreakable connection. Yeah.
I saw it trending. The Unbreakable started coming out. People are finally discovering this movie again. That's awesome. And then so we rented it on DVD, and so we were enjoying it. Oh man, this is pretty cool. And everything. And then it gets to that final scene
at the restaurant.
I nerded the fuck out.
You liked it way more now.
Yes,
the third act.
My inner 12-year-old was jumping out of.
I get it. Seeing Bruce Willis right there, and then I get it.
My wife did not know what to do with me at that point because she hadn't seen Unbreakable.
Okay.
She's like, what the hell is this guy doing here?
Right. Yeah, as most people.
Yeah.
But that's why I say he's got a built-in audience with him, because if you're an M. Night fan, you've seen both, right? So I said, I haven't seen Unbreakable, but I'm sure the people that were going because it was an M. Night film, Like they've seen Unbreakable, so that's the audience he was preparing for. I think it's a good point.
That's why I wanted to like dive into like with you guys with the script. There's a couple of scenes where like they just stand out so much because you guys already talked about the directing. I'll talk a little bit more about the acting, but what do you think about the script?
Okay,
I know it has holes there, you know, but
no, I think he uses for writing purpose, for it being a thriller, for it being a psychological thriller. I think Night used a very smart, clean way of being subtle, with the information. So like only that's the kind of the thriller.
Yeah.
Stuff, right. Is to only give certain bits of information throughout the film. So I think he did that very, very successfully. I think he successfully gave the information of certain individuals, certain characters.
I think where that one really kind of stands out is when he, what is it called? When he sets up the meeting with Dr. Fletcher.
Like the first emergency meeting,
with Barry. Like he's Barry first, and then he's Dennis, and then she finally meets Dennis.
Yeah.
That the writing. I don't know if you guys caught a couple of the writing things there. Where it's like, okay, well, you're telling me that the 23 personalities are inside a room, and you get a shot of her with the dining room in the back with a bunch of like kind of insinuating like that's what's going on in his head. Yeah, that's what I kind of like. I got.
I mean, no, I think, again, we're going to combine writing and directing here because I feel like as a director, those are more director traits. Those aren't really script traits. Those are director traits.
Oh, okay.
I'd say for the writing, if you don't mind me jumping in, what I thought was nice about Dr. Fletcher's character was that I feel like for thriller films, there's this essence of like, you really want to establish the problem and you want to see the problem get worse. You want to see things maybe lead up to a climax. Yeah. And we know that the climax is going to come with them trying to escape. We don't know how they're going to be able to escape.
That's the overall surface level.
But we also don't really understand how important Fletcher's going to play a role later on.
Yeah. I gotta ask you guys about that too.
I like how they built up her character and made her very kind of like just a subtle entity that maybe like notices like, oh, you know, you're one of the people that comes in and all that. But the more and more we see her, the more and more she feels important and is able to kind of like.
She doesn't see him having a disease. She sees it as a intriguing, like, wow, this guy could transform into, you know.
I think we
She's a little different.
The Fletcher character. I think Knight, again, he did this successfully. I think he was setting this character up to be the prologue character, the character that's just going to tell us the information that we need to know about, James McAvoy's character. So I think that's what we expected. So we didn't expect her to be important. And then
she turns out to be like the key for the lock, you know?
Well, she's very layered. If you really think about it, she's very layered in writing. She's a motherly figure.
Exactly.
To this character, she's a protector, right? And then especially because this character had mom issues and was the psychological side of
dad issues.
Yeah, no, mom issues. His mom was fucking psychotic.
And that's right. Yeah. My bad. It's because the dad left in the train.
Yeah, the dad left.
I'm going into the third act. My bad.
Yeah, that's Glass. We don't know that till Glass.
But no, they do mention it. They do. Mention
oh yeah, they do on this one. My bad.
Mean, the whole train and the flowers and the whole.
Yeah.
No, but I think the mother side of it, like he didn't have a mother with a psyche that was plain and calm, and so to have a doctor be that figure for him, I think that's another layer that Fletcher had. And then the fact is she's protecting her work, right? She's trying to normalize these individuals because there's more than one. In fact, so much so that this character was based on an actual case like that existed about a guy who like raped 3 women whose case was dismissed because he pled insanity. And it was one of the first insanity cases that was dismissed.
Damn, you for real?
Yeah, like Knight based it on an actual dude. Like
I didn't know this. That's very interesting.
And his face. I had opened up a tab. Billy Milligan. You Google Billy Milligan, and he's like the first guy who had a case or one of the first guys who had a case dismissed because he pled that he has multiple personalities and some of his personalities are more evil than others. And hopefully, so that's where Knight got the inspiration from.
Oh wow, that's
I only bring that up because it's the Dr. Fletcher character defending her work of her life's work almost, but it's not going to help. Like, you don't see her with a selfish turn. You see her like, I want to normalize this. I want people to know that this exists. And
exactly.
Potentially we could tap into the brain further than we know, but it's almost like caring for this figure more than it is her own agenda. So yeah, she's very layered. And in terms of writing, I'll give you that. She's a very layered character for sure.
So in terms with Shyamalan's writing, I have kind of two things with him.
What's up?
Okay. He has great ideas.
Exactly.
Like great setups. You could definitely see why at the beginning of his career he was called the next Spielberg, the next Hitchcock.
Sure.
Yeah. Because he has some great ideas.
And that's where it starts, man.
The only thing with him is that he's
provocative in the sense of being question prone. Like you ask yourself these questions, right? Like, what if this did happen, or what if this did? Yeah, of course, absolutely.
And he has some good plot, like the way he follows the plots and everything. He usually has some good structure. Sure. Now the thing where I usually have problems with him is that he's just not good with dialogue sometimes, and he overwrites the hell of. What
do you mean though? In which part, or what do you mean?
Well, let's say like in this one.
Yeah.
There's moments where, let's say, with Dr. Fletcher when she's with his cameo, and like this whole monologue about
who he is.
I give you. That's the only one. I'll give you that one.
But I mean, you know what? I mean.
That one for sure.
That one was able to at least cover its tracks in establishing that it's a character that's a doctor. So that kind of formal dialogue, recapping everything you are.
I think
you don't think it was.
No, I do think it covers
the only one.
But I think it covers its track, or it tries to cover its tracks. Because I agree with you a lot. Like, I could forgive it. I couldn't forgive his acting, but I could forgive the dialogue because he was bad, dude. He's
never been the good actor.
He's not actor.
No, he's trying to be Hitchcock, dude. Hitchcock.
Exactly. He's a big Hitchcock fan.
Hitchcock. But anyways, I think it was trying to cover its tracks, that particular scene. It was trying to cover its tracks of like to set up the relationship to the fact that she knows this super well enough to get camera access. You know what I mean? Like, they know each other well enough. She knows that he likes to eat fast food. She knows that, I think it's just covering its tracks that way. I don't think it was trying to be super like snippy about anything else. I think it was kind of set up
the trailer.
And with a lot of other movies of his, he also has this tendency of overwriting dialogue. But the thing is, I do always love his ideas. But what he's always impressed me more, like even in his shittiest movies, what he's always impressed me more is his directing.
Okay.
His eye of the camera. There was this guy on YouTube. What he did was that he put like snippets of his movies.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Completely black and white, no dialogue, no music. You just see what's going on, and in that you could definitely see with the placement of where he has it.
Yeah.
You could see the action of what's going on. You could clearly see the emotions that he's portraying, and that's where I think he shines really good.
Let's talk about that. I'm glad you brought it up because I think it's a good transition from the writing to the directing. And I forget who said this. It might have been Hitchcock. It might have been Hitchcock that said that, like, the tell of a good director is to turn off the sound. And just watch the shots of, the intention of the visuals for the director. I don't know that I agree with that 100%. Because again, it's about combining all of these art forms into one to be, conclusive, but to be cohesive rather. But I think with this one, I will say that I was really impressed. I was really impressed in the directing. A lot of shots, a lot of camera movements that stood out to me. Let me get into that. One of the first things I started to notice, like I said, was the POVs.
Yeah.
And I tried to remember, is that a night thing? Is a POVs a night thing? But it's not. It's not a night thing. It's just that he was trying to do something different in this picture.
Yeah.
I respected that. So he uses a lot of POVs and he sets us up in this. I think it's to set up the world and to really put us in the mind of the character, right? That's what POVs are meant to do anyways. But we see most of the POVs, if not all of them, I'll say most of the POVs are in the perspective of James McAvoy's character. So we don't really see POVs from Anya Taylor-Joy's. We don't really see POVs from anybody else. We see them from the villain. Those are the POVs we're getting. So that's strategic. That's on purpose. At least I hope it's on purpose. Otherwise, he's not a good director. But so that was the first thing I noticed. A lot of the other shots really caught my attention in the sense that he was purposefully, and Dalal, you and I did this in the last picture we did. He was purposely going out of focus in certain shots to especially like deep focus and then go out of focus, and then we get the character walk out of frame and in the frame. And I kept wondering, what is he doing? But the more I saw him doing it, I understood that it was it was trying to put the audience in a place of uncertainty, but questioning almost like our own senses.
Not only that, but I'd also say that that whole in focus, out of focus thing, because I mean, it's established at the very beginning when he comes into the car and you see, I forgot what the girl's name was. Yeah, but the girl is in this super shallow depth of field. And if I'm not mistaken, turning towards him, he's in more focus. But what it is,
the only thing I questioned there were the pans. I don't think the pans did anything for me.
Here's what it did. Here's what it did. I think that the in focus, out of focus was a control thing. And I think by having it out of focus and things kind of being distorted the way you would look at it, it puts the audience, much like the character, where you're not in control anymore. You're not able to like have a firm grasp on what's going on and what's going to happen next. And you can see that again. Clear example is like with the doctor when she's disoriented and it's like nothing's really in focus, but it's because she's obviously drugged. She's out of control. She can't take charge of what's going on, you know? I think that was really unique because you'll see thrillers where somebody gets drugged or something and you can see they have everything in super sharp focus and it's to show, oh, look, there's the knife that you need to just grab so that way you can stab the person who's attacking you. But this one was like, no, let's put the character where there's no clear solution. There's no clear way of getting out of whatever you're kind of stuck in. So that was unique. I think there was also a couple of other techniques I could mention that just, it felt very different. Like every time I tried to put this in a category of like, oh, it's using this technique because it's a thriller. Oh, it's using this technique because it's trying to make things scary. It always subverted it just a tiny bit, but to make it interesting.
I'm gonna have to rewatch this just for still. I didn't catch.
There's one more. There's one last one I want to talk about that I thought was really interesting. Do you guys know what the Snorri Cam is? You've probably seen it in like The Hangover. It's that camera that hangs on to the actor and basically just films their face and all that. Okay. There was a few times where like the characters are running around and I thought, oh, well, they're doing a Snorri Cam shot because it's just watching their face as they're running through, but then it backs up just a little bit so then you could see the fuller picture of everything. And that's interesting because I mean, it seems so much harder to do. Most people would have just said, throw the Snorri Cam, let's see the panic.
What are you talking about when she's running, the girl with the white
Yeah, because
sweater?
You're just seeing her face. Yeah, you're seeing the girl running around and you just see her face and she's panicking, but then you see that the camera is able to back up so you see her hands fidgeting and getting scared.
It's that thing,
that's
right?
An interesting shot.
I think it's a character trait thing. And that's, I picked up more on the character traits than I did on the camera. And let me tell you why. For instance, in the Snorri Cam scene, the first time we see it effectively, I think, is when she tells the girl to pee herself, right? She literally grabs camera. Like that's the POV we get, right? And we're kind of with her for a moment. I guess that's more POV than Snorri. But anyways, like I had to go back. I had to go back to hear that dialogue just to kind of, okay, what is she whispering in her ear? And why do we have to get into a POV to know this? But it was used effectively. I'll tell you this. And before we get into character traits, my favorite shot of the entire film, the shot that's set up.
I want to hear this.
That's solidified. And it's a very short, it's a very small, if you blink, you'll miss it.
Bring it.
We have the beast, right? We have the beast running through the streets, right? He's out. This is after the train and you know, he's running. We see him running in an overhead shot, classic Hitchcock shot, by the way.
Yeah.
The lamp one, right?
The lamp one. And we see the
That was so
lamp,
cool.
the nightlight in the middle.
Oh,
So remember, the entire film, we're hearing that basically all of his identities are in chairs, and then they step into the light.
yeah.
Right. So when the beast is in the light on the that's
beautiful.
Genius. Pretty genius. Like that's I say, okay, that's okay. All right, Knight. I got you. You're back.
I mean,
that is pretty.
I saw the same thing, but I was looking at it maybe a little too in depth. They're all split up, and I mean that's why it's called Split. But it has this idea that they don't really mold together. Like everybody kind of has their own spot in the light, and this is the first shot where you see him crossing through, and there's a very definitive line, which is the lamplight, and he just darts through that. There's nothing kind of stopping it, and it almost adds this extra layer of tension of like there's no stopping.
There's nobody with an actual consensus. Like there's nobody with it's an animal. Like there's no conscience in like in the light that we could speak to type of thing. Yeah, I see that. I see that. But yeah, I think
it's interesting. It's a very interesting shot. And I mean, I don't know, call it directorial choice. I mean, I can also see the cinematography in it, but it felt unique. There's something about this film that just felt so unique compared to like other thrillers and all that I can appreciate
Knight using like for instance, the DP was a TV DP, you know, the guy who did the music, he got it from some TV show. Like, so I can appreciate Knight wanting to experiment. Maybe that's why his budget was so low, or maybe it's the other way around. But I know that his DP didn't do a ton in terms of features, or at least I don't want to say successfully, but the last thing that this DP had done, which was very successful and in this genre, was It Follows. That's obviously very, you know, again.
And you can kind of see the similarities in the camera.
Absolutely. And the music, I thought it was an interesting choice as a director. He originally Knight got these Ennio Morricone scores licensed, and he was going to use just Ennio Morricone scores from other films, believe it or not.
What?
To kind of set up the score for this character. And then he heard the writer of the music, I think his name's Wes.
He also did us.
What's Anderson?
Sorry.
Wes Dylan Thornton. And he's like a TV dude. Like he did some TV stuff that Knight saw, and he was like, oh, that's what I want. So he just got rid of the Ennio Morricone stuff, and he got this guy to write an original score. And by the way, he did this and he did Glass, but he was like some TV dude. So
that's what it's about, man.
I think Knight was giving opportunity to kind of get more creative and to bring in other mediums. And because he's blending genre, having the use of music, having the use of cinematography, and the use of lighting to blend genres, I really do think he was keen on like, okay, this is a thriller and this is a character piece, but it's also this escape movie. And so he was really blending genre. And by blending genre, you're blending genre techniques. And I think that's why the law, like, that maybe that's what we picked up on. Like, you can't put your finger on.
Yeah, and that was
what technique.
I was impressed by that. I think it was done very successfully, and I mean, it again goes back to probably something I've said a lot. It's a concept that it sounds really cool, but when executing it, you can imagine so many ways it can go wrong, and this didn't feel like one of them.
Let's talk about set design a little bit and character traits. Because
can I put one little input?
Yeah.
There's one where I think M. Night Shyamalan's kind of like grown into this business, is where I was talking about in the beginning, where he kind of gives you the twist at the beginning or kind of in the trailer. And that's where I'm big on like selling stuff. Like, you know, I'm learning like how do you get to like the studio's desk and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those perfect films where the opening scene, not so much in the restaurant, but when they're walking to their car,
oh yeah,
probably the first 10 minutes. And it already captivates you. You know what I'm saying? It's you know what I'm saying? I think that's a smart move from M. Night. Like they're waiting for my twist. I'm gonna give it to them in the beginning.
I wouldn't call that the twist. I don't know that's because a twist is
when they see she's a lady.
Yeah. I think for Knight, it's the big reveal. I'd almost call it more of a reveal than a twist for Knight. But I think the original 10 minutes, it's setting you in that world. It's dropping you into the world. So I think that's his intention, but that's just my point of view. Like,
I just remember that that's what you shoot for as an amateur. Like, man, if you could get him the first 10 minutes, just like that.
But do you feel like that
Give him
scene
just enough.
where, like he comes out and you find out that he was the woman that like he was talking to and all that kind of stuff? Do you feel
that's
like
why I would cut it off right there.
that was enough of a minor twist, but just to kind of like get people off the idea like, oh, it's an M. Night thing, he's gonna do a big twist and all that. It's almost like let me throw him a bone and then show you that I'm gonna do something different.
Exactly. Perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Self-aware. He's self-aware.
Yeah.
He knows what people want. He knows what's gonna sell. He knows what's gonna get. Maybe this was Knight's last attempt of like, all right, man, I'm working with a studio. I'm just gonna fucking steer into the skid of the twist and give people what they want throughout, but I'm gonna sprinkle it. I'm gonna do it my way.
Well, yeah. Well, I kind of agree with you. I feel like this was kind of his personal project. Like that's an M. Night thing. I don't know.
What's up, Yoko?
Yeah. Let me give you another point of view. My wife, she doesn't know really about M. Night Shyamalan. Like she's seen the movies, but she wouldn't distinguish this is a Shyamalan movie. Oh, there's gonna be a twist or something like that.
Right.
And that's where I think this movie, what I think was actually great for him especially, is that this movie, you could watch it not even knowing it's Shyamalan, not even knowing that he works with twists and stuff like that. Yeah. This movie is a straightforward beginning to end.
It keeps moving forward, yeah.
Where there's not really about a twist. Now the only twist it is the whole thing at the end that, oh wait, this is connected to the Unbreakable universe.
Right.
And that's also
that's the only twist that really happens. But
that's what I appreciated, is that this film could stand on its own. And for me, it does, because I haven't seen the other film, so I don't.
Oh no, there's another twist. My bad, Carlos. Go for it.
I think it's his thing, and I think he does it. And if I'm being honest, if I'm being frank, yes, I think M. Night did the modern genre picture and kind of not perfected, but he established the modern genre picture. But he certainly wasn't the first person to develop a twist. That's just
no, for sure, no. But
that's a cinema thing. But that's what I'm saying. Like I think he's steering to the skid because he knows how to do it successfully. But I don't think he's thinking about that at all, if I'm being honest. Like, knowing how much he hates being
for sure.
I don't think he's thinking about that like purposely.
But he like you said, he's self-aware, so he knows that's his selling point. I got some twists for you guys.
So if you're working with a studio that's giving him so much money and they're saying
he's smart about it.
I mean, that's going to set him up for success in the future, right? I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting to kind of.
And I think
that's where I think go for
the big shift in I guess the conversation. Castro, the acting. I mean, I feel like this is almost like it feels like an actor's playground.
Yeah,
exactly. That's
because it's just. I mean, off the premise alone, a guy with multiple personalities that are all coming at play. I feel like it's just let me show you every range I could possibly give you, which, I think
it adds to it, though. There's another layer to this.
It's 23 personalities, borderline on 24. The Beast is kind of 24, but we only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, we get like 8.
They credit like 6, right?
We see 8, if I'm not mistaken. We see 8 because a lot of like 2 or 3 of them are also on the computer. We don't
exactly the heroin guy and all.
So let's just kind of point that out, because I think it's important to know that yes, 23. I think 23 is overkill, right, in terms of trying to show range.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. Like,
you get a good 8 or 9 of these.
Yeah.
20,
although in glass it does expand a little bit more on them.
Exactly.
Dude, another like 6.
I didn't know.
Hello, have you seen Glass?
I haven't. This is so basically you're getting my standalone impression right now.
Yeah.
Dude, when you see there's this one it's even on YouTube. There's this one scene that reminds me of you, because it has this Wes Anderson vibe when they're in the pink room. I don't know if you've seen that, Yoko. Oh, dude, just for that one,
let me preface this, okay? Let me preface this conversation about the acting by saying that Castro, you might kill me for this, but before James McAvoy was casted, Joaquin Phoenix was supposed to play the role.
No. Nah, he wouldn't have been able to pull it off.
No, are you kidding me?
Joaquin Phoenix?
Watch Joker. Yes.
No.
That'll just show you.
Joker.
I would have loved Joaquin in this, man. I think
you think Joaquin could do a New York accent, an English accent?
No. Wait. Let me. Yes, of course.
He doesn't.
No. Let me.
He
just
was
say
in
this.
Brother Bear.
Oh man.
Let me just say this. I think Joaquin, if I'm being honest, I think Joaquin. I don't know, dude. Let me just.
He was good in Joker for sure, but just one.
I think if Joaquin were in this picture, it would have escalated. He would actually got nominated. A popcorn flick.
Yo, I'm out.
I think it would have escalated it being a popcorn flick into an Oscar flick if Joaquin was involved in this project. I think it would have escalated.
Because I think that's what he did to Joker. Honestly,
Joker was one crazy.
No, but the thing, you're talking about range. Yeah,
come on. Joaquin is a career, dude.
No, he's good. I'm not saying he's good, but I don't think he has the range like personalities. Like he's not gonna come out with a
controversial idea.
But
this is
insanity. Castro, I think this is the difficult part. How do you decipher whether it's an actor's range or if it's just in the script and it's enough that any actor?
Well, that's what I wanted to talk about when you asked me the question.
Look, I think James McAvoy did solidify himself in this film. Like it's really solid.
Definitely.
Yeah, because look, before that he was doing X-Men pictures and he was doing kind of like I
remember him from Wanted.
The Angelina Jolie one. So yeah, Wanted it. That's one. So I mean, he was kind of becoming that guy, right? But this showed people he's an actor.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. Here's the thing, though. I think the approach to
Joaquin Phoenix is
the approach to 60% of the characters is great. The other 40%, I was like kind of annoyed, dude. Like when I kept asking myself, because most of his characters, like the Hedwig and fucking
Patricia, Gary.
The other guy, Daniel, or the guy with the
Dennis is the Dennis, and then Kevin is the real guy.
They had Boston accents. Why do you need Boston?
He's got different ones. He's got Barry, who's the New York.
That's Scorsese.
What are you talking about?
Boston accents. You could obviously tell they were bad Boston accents, and I didn't know them. It just annoyed me. I didn't know why we needed them. I didn't know why he chose that. I didn't.
Were you waiting for him to go into like a British accent? I was.
No, yeah, because he did, and those accents were good. Like when he was talking as the philosopher, and talking about the history of whatever.
Oh yeah,
that was good. Like he actually like presented that character good, and Patricia was good. The mannerisms of the feminine mannerisms were really good. The Hedwig was good to kind of establish like, oh, this motherfucker crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But there was like Dennis, and I didn't need it.
You know why? He's
a must. Dennis, in that scene, that's why you say Dennis is a must because he's strict. He's
methodical. Here's why they did Bostonian.
I kept wondering.
Yeah, I don't understand why you're questioning the Boston accent. It's personalities that are in his head.
Yeah, but here's a layer to it.
Maybe when he was a kid, he was watching a Boston TV show. My bad. I'll go for it.
No. I think it's really challenging to find multiple accents in like the American dialogue, or in the American, that where if you do like dialects, thank you, communication major prick. I think if you go to like a Maine accent or like a Minnesota accent or like a Texan, they feel like stereotypes. You can't tell me that when anybody who uses a Texan accent is not using it like a stereotype, but Boston feels.
Thanks to The Departed and fucking Tom Brady, and
those feel genuine, and they feel like people use them, people walk around, they're real, and then it's something that you can learn and kind of like manipulate.
As an actor, if you're not careful, a Boston accent can sound like a New York.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and you fuckers like you guys catch that.
So, anyways, I'm just throwing that out there. Like, there's
another. Can I give another insight?
Yeah.
I'm from Boston.
Yeah, just since we're on the
co-op.
So
you see the ska.
So after this movie came out and everything, I actually got into this kind of deep dive into DID people, and there's like a lot of the great YouTube channels about DID.
Right.
And here's the thing. One of the traits that come in with DID does involve the whole change of accent things, change of personality.
Sure.
Yeah, it does. But also not all the time does it mean that they're gonna be genuine accents.
Okay.
So
like
it could actually be a trait of JV.
Exactly.
Yeah, because in the end, sometimes it is limited to what the person knows.
Sure.
Or what they grew up with,
Yeah.
Like
It's
what they grew
okay.
up with
See?
at the
No, and
moment
that
that
makes
they
sense.
started
Layers to it, yeah.
associate.
That makes sense, but
That makes
I guess you're right. Maybe if you get into the deep type of the psychological things, that's fine. But it
Which
just feels to
James
me like,
McAvoy actually did before the movie.
like a lot of them are very genuine and believable. And then maybe that's the point, right?
You know what? My bad. You know what? It's probably because you guys haven't watched Glass, where you see a lot more of his personalities. And
Well, here's the one thing I will say, and I think it does how do you phrase it? But it does take away from the Bostonian accent is when Kevin does it, because you feel like Kevin should be the most real, genuine.
Yeah. Okay, this is where we get into the acting perspective. You know how hard it is in 1 minute to change to 3 to 4.
Hold on. No, we understand how hard it is, but that's the point.
I like insulting him.
Right? No, you want to take this ride as a director.
The technical wise of this is insanity, man.
As a director, you're gonna take a ride with an actor who you know can deliver each thing successfully, right? And
that's why I wanted to answer this guy's question with that.
To piggyback of what Alel was saying, if the Bostonian accent was just with Kevin, I would have been fine. I'd have been all right.
I feel you in that. I feel you in that for sure.
It grounds the accent. It grounds.
But he's part of Kevin.
The everyman. Yeah, no, I understand. Like
because Kevin needs to be the most genuine one.
Yeah, you have to trust Kevin the most. Everybody has to trust Kevin the most, right? So to have him being the working man, the everyman, that's what the Bostonian accent does. But for you to try to, and Yoko, your explanation is very insightful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's very insightful.
I feel a backhand here somewhere.
No, if you take a deep dive, studying all that, then that makes sense. But the film wasn't supposed to, you know what I mean? The film, it's not supposed to make you do that necessarily. Like a film is supposed to be a film. It's not supposed to be.
I come to argue that, especially with the psychiatrist, the way they do her research, yes, the film is actually trying to get you to that.
Okay.
But I'm gonna watch a documentary about DID. That's not the point.
We'll put a pin on that, as some would say.
But it's not supposed to make you. Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
put a pin on.
Dude, I hate all you guys right now.
No, Castro.
Look, listen,
I want you. Wait,
Castro.
Hold. No, Castro. I want you to definitely enlighten us on the acting perspective. I mean, it seems like an insurmountable challenge, at least to me, to think of trying to very definitely put yourself into different characters. I feel like when you're in one role,
I think that's where the writing comes into play.
I swear, dude. As I was watching this, I swear I'm not bullshitting you. And I hope you take this as a good thing. I think you could play this. I honestly know. I honestly do think you could play this. When I saw James McAvoy's, but let me throw a question at you. Let me throw a question at you to give us that acting perspective.
How many fingers am I holding up?
Yeah, no, man, I couldn't do the heart with my finger.
It's a heart with one pinky sticking out. One vein. Se supone, right? It stands to reason that for a role like this, you're gonna fucking sweep award season. You're gonna sweep. You know what I mean? It stands to reason that this is a worthy role to fucking expand, right? Why was it not nominated for anything?
Because it's M. Night, and he doesn't get like the big freaking studio.
Bruce Willis is an Academy Award nominated actor. Don't give me that. It's not. Why wasn't it nominated?
The thing is that one of the things
because everybody's still stuck with like Martin Scorsese
with
stuff.
This one in Glass is that they
it's a good
in January, and usually if you release a movie in January,
that's part of it for sure. I agree.
People forget, the voters forget, and they'll go to other movies.
I feel
and then there weren't not really known characters too.
This probably should have been. I mean, maybe they were questioning the success given his previous films, but this should have. Usually, Night's a summer blockbuster guy. This should have probably been a summer picture, or it should.
But it's one of those films. There's always one or two every year where it's like, why didn't that one win? I think this is one of those underrated ones.
Don't get me wrong. I remember that award year specifically because that was the year La La Land won. This is 2016.
Exactly.
I remember there being articles about like certain snubs, and everybody was literally no pun intended. Everybody was split with this performance, dude. Everybody. So I'm wondering why, as an actor, explain to me. I need enlightenment. Why?
Well, that's why I started.
It's the thing that maybe the company didn't campaign enough.
Exactly. It's a $9 million budget.
Those are political.
Damn.
I feel that.
Is that The Oscars are political.
Oh, absolutely, but those are political things to focus on the political side of things. But we're talking about the acting. I don't care how political the Oscars are. When there's an undeniable tour de force of acting, it gets nominated, bro.
Sometimes, yeah.
I just feel like this is the type of script that's not, it's not. I don't want to say worthy because it's worthy for me, but for like big studio heads, it's like.
Castro, I will say this: it did so many things well. I think.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
It really developed character. I don't think it did anything that was too cliche. Trophy.
This is what I loved about the writing.
Like,
this is my bad. This is what I loved about the writing with the acting.
Yeah,
you have these characters having interactions with each other. So it's like, okay, you got this guy trying to act with different personalities, but these personalities also have something going on inside their head. So for who said that about the playground? That's a playground.
Is that show don't tell? I mean, look, we're in different times now, and we're way different. Now, if you want to talk about political Oscars, Yoko, we're in political Oscars now. But I feel like then we still had kind of a setup, a little more freedom, right? Today, we have films like One Night in Miami nominated for Oscars, which was just people sitting in a room talking to each other. You know what I mean? So, though it was a fantastic film, there's political reasons behind a lot of that, right? So, I want to know. I agree with you. I think James McAvoy is a good actor. I think he solidified himself as being an actor to get casted in roles, not popcorn shit. But I'm trying to. There's something about his performance that just didn't crack it. Just something that just didn't crack the form, and I want to know what that is. I think it's an actor's playground. I think you're right. I think he showed his range, but.
So let me ask you: is it a biased opinion because it wasn't, or you don't think it was a good one?
I kind of agree, dude. I don't think his performance deserved a nomination, and I'm trying to figure out why.
Because
I'll blame the script. To be completely honest, because I saw the parts where it was the child, the parts when it was Dennis, the part when it was even like that art designer guy who like did fashion, and the ones where he's imagining himself as like a female character. Right. Those all seemed very distinct and very strong, but there were a few that kind of blended themselves, and I think even like the computer scene.
Jesus, guys, it's a hard. Technical wise, it's hard, guys.
But break it down.
I guess that's where I'm coming from. That's where I'm coming
the actor.
I'm seeing all the technical.
We're defending the actor here. That's what I was saying. Like, look, I was gonna say that I would honestly blame it. I had a studio exec recently talk to me about one of my films, and he's up there. He's up there. Right. Works for HBO Max and stuff, and he saw one of my films and he said, "Hey, look, the acting, you have to be smart about who you cast, because if the acting is good, but it's not great, they're not blaming the actor, they're blaming the director." You know, so because the director gets to judge the performance, the director gets to, and it's true. That's a big thing for me, right? So I couldn't argue with him. I couldn't be like, "Fuck you," like it was, because it's true. If the acting isn't really highlighted, you're not blaming the actor. The actor's following the director. I will say this: if Joaquin was casted in this, he wasn't going to fucking listen to the director. He was going to do his own thing. He was going to make his own choices. But I do have a feeling that
would have been a different movie for sure.
It would have been a different movie. But I think Night. Maybe he told James, maybe he told, McAvoy, like, "Hey, man, this is how you're going to approach this particular identity. This is how you're going to approach this particular identity." It could have been Knight's fault, dude. I'm just saying.
Honestly, because I feel like
I feel where you guys are at. Yeah.
Yeah, because definitely I feel like there were characters that were really strong. The kid character, how different that was from everybody else. And
that awkward kiss.
What range that shows.
I think you're pregnant now.
I think you're pregnant.
I'm. Oh God, Ash is.
Let me put it this way. I feel like no.
That's why I started. The script has a lot of holes.
Yeah. No. But it's not even that. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Acting.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. And I know there's more weight to James McAvoy's character. I know that it's harder on an actor to. I know.
Where I'm coming from.
I'm aware. But let me ask you this. Not that it happened, by the way, but between Anya Taylor-Joy and James, I think Anya would have been up for the Oscar, dude.
Oh, get out of here. What the hell are you guys on?
I would have for both, to tell the truth.
On a performance
okay.
Now, I'm not even getting into that.
Now I want Castro, not I feel like we're throwing
we're
just throwing rocks.
Right.
No, you're not struggling, because we all agree this is a really good film
and good performance.
There was
for me.
Now, break it down, because I honestly want to hear more of like, I already know it's challenging, but maybe the technical, like why do you feel like this is hard for an actor? Why you would do like 50 films? What's the difference between doing 50 films?
I would think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I guess it's a little bit me being
an actor.
Exactly.
It's not to me.
And by the way, before you even answer your thing, I know political reasons stand to be. I know budget reasons stand to be. They only had. I heard in an interview today. Anya Taylor-Joy said they had 10 days of rehearsal. That's it. 10 days. 10 days of rehearsal before they start shooting. So
wait, how much?
So that was starting with that for sure.
But wait, that's like getting the script and then shooting?
No. That's like you get 2 weeks before we roll cameras to go rehearse with your,
like do the steps and all that
to discover your character.
Blocking, kind of, yeah. No, but I think. Look, I think James, with the minute he got the script, started developing maybe how he was going to do things. But do you need more rehearsal for something like this?
Oh my God, you guys are killing the actor's perspective in this one.
No.
Go ahead, please. I just wanted to point that out, that they didn't have a lot of rehearsal time. So
exactly. So that's one of the things that kind of, I guess, but you need to practice all the time. But
okay,
the thing about an actor is when you got one character that you're supposed to get into the emotions, right? You're supposed to have 5 different things, even if it's not written in the script, right? Just so you could get into this guy's character. Sure. A perfect example is this when he has that interview with the psychologist, where he starts off as Barry and then comes out to be Dennis. Because man, I'm also thinking of the glass scene, dude, where it's 5.
You can break it down however you'd like.
Yeah. Acting.
Okay, well, the glass scene, I wish we could put it up, but he starts off as, I think, Hedwig. And then that's where I wanted to ask you guys, what did you guys think about the name, saying it 3 times?
We have a scene in this film where he switches between 4 or 5 personalities in
the mirror scene.
At the end. No, but I'm talking about when she says his name, his real name, when he says Kevin or whatever, the full name.
And they're breaking into different ones.
Yeah, he's breaking into. So those are snippets. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. But I guess the better one is the one with the psychologist. You guys have watched this one, the split one.
Yeah.
The way he changes from Barry, this very sensual, I like the painting and all that, to the psychologist, little by little, trying to get you're not Barry, to that sudden, even that score too.
Let's lay it on the ground. It's Barry turning into Dennis and Dennis playing Barry. So it's Dennis playing Barry.
Exactly. There's so many. It's like an onion, so many layers to it. And technique wise, as an actor, you have one good shot before, you know what? We got to change the lighting. It's like, dude, I have to get these 3 characters. So the technical wise, it's insanity.
Let me throw this monkey wrench into that. Knight was saying that he was trying to defend the 3 main actors, right? He was trying to defend Anya Taylor-Joy, James McAvoy, and the old lady. I forgot her name. And he was basically saying how these actors don't do it, but I do have actors on the set where get obsessed with this front. Like if I tell them, okay, let's shoot this thing, we're gonna, this is a scene. We're shooting, and the first take, they do this finger pointing, like we are united, right?
Right.
And then I yell. He says, I yell cut right away when I see stuff like that, and everybody's looking at him like, what the fuck? Why? He's like, because now they're upset. Now the next 10 takes, they're gonna try to be obsessed. They're not in the room. They're obsessed with getting the right finger pointing because that worked for the first take.
Okay.
Like so on the acting front, I discourage that on my sets. Like that they obsess over the one thing that they think is going to work instead of being present in the room with their fellow actors with the with the scene.
Yeah, but that comes with the fine line of how do you call it? Continuity.
Yeah, no, but
it has to stay with you in your mind, even if it's just one decision that you said, like that decision.
But that's a setup thing. That's not an acting. I'm going to have 3 different setups. So for these 3 different setups, from director to actor, this is what you have to do consistently. And by the way, Castro, we were talking about in the editing how you were very consistent for continuity. So
with more,
for the door stuff, I like me being a double for you worked because you were consistent in every take.
Yeah.
So you're good at that, by the way.
It comes with practice, with errors and stuff. You guys tell them.
I'm just throwing that monkey wrench in there because I think maybe that was the issue. Maybe when you have so many different personalities and you have their subtleties and you have their costumbres, right? You have to be consistent with them in order for the audience to identify who this character is. It's tough.
For sure.
It's tough for sure. But I will say this, and correct. I know. Well, give me your guys' perspective. I feel like the stuff that stood out for the character, of what's his name, Kevin, his full name, Kevin Wendell Crumb.
What did you guys think of that? What did you guys think of that?
I like that.
Kind of like the Beetlejuice thing, but
it's cool because think about it this way. Kendall Wendell
Glass, they use it pretty bad.
Sounds like a villain name, and then her name, Casey Cook, sounds like a superhero name.
Yeah.
Think about Clark Kent. Think about Peter Parker, the two CCs, the two PP.
Yeah.
So like all of that.
That's pretty cool.
Villain. It's very smart. But anyways, everything that stood out to me about Kevin Wendell Crumb were, for instance, I obsessed over the fact that he uses not him specifically. I think it was Barry uses the cloth, right, to open the door, to pick.
Oh yeah, because he's the dentist. He's the very strict, very
OCD thing, right? Or it was Dennis. Okay, so I obsessed over the fact of like, is Dennis doing that? I obsessed over a lot of things in character traits. That's why I think character traits were more impactful to me than the performance was, and that's why I want to.
I feel you. Okay,
the character traits.
No?
What's up?
It could be part of it, depending on.
I mean, it's a story thing, right? I feel like the character traits are like purposely there because the director's saying, make sure that the cloth is yellow. You know what I mean? Make sure that
that's gonna leave enough crumbs that then it can develop further, right?
Yeah. So I think the character traits of that, I obsessed with it because I thought, okay, this OCD guy, he doesn't want to be exposed to germs, and this was pre-COVID, because if one of them gets sick, they all get sick. Or maybe they don't.
Okay.
Just one personality gets sick, and what if he's exposed to a type of germ that's going to kill one personality, but it's the body that they all inhabit. So I obsessed over like why the OCD of not using, of not being exposed to germs.
Yeah, protective.
Do you think it was that deep, or it was just one of those? I
didn't read any confirmation. Those are my things.
It can be, and the justification would be that Dennis is supposed to be like the most protective one. Like he controls everybody, but he's protecting them by like not grabbing things, or even being clean, like the clean freak. Yeah,
it could also be the fact that we do see a scene where Kevin's mom was a fucking like, you made a mess, and
we do get to see that in Split.
Yes, we can see that in Split.
Oh, because that's a good one on Glass.
Okay. No, there's a scene in Split where like, you made a mess, Kevin Wendell Crumb, you made a mess. That's the trigger scene that kicks off his flashback.
Yeah.
When she says his full name. So it could be just that he has to be a neat freak because mommy's going to get mad at him. And
that's pretty good.
It could be a ton of things, but that's one thing. The other thing was why 23? I kept asking myself why 23? And I thought about DNA, and I thought about 23 chromosomes or 23.
God damn you, Carlos, you nerd.
So, and this is not confirmed, by the way.
No, but it's good. I mean,
I couldn't find
anything.
anything.
Be Jim Carrey's number 23.
You don't think some of these directors sometimes they didn't intend to do that? But
so I obsessed over those, like, okay, 23. And I thought Cassandra just recently did the 23andMe thing. So that was
I thought Michael Jordan right away.
So I was like, 23. Okay, there's 23 in terms of DNA, and all of them have to make up the fiber of a DNA.
Wow, that's freaking crazy.
But there's no confirmation, and that was kind of broken with the fact that there's a 24th personality.
No, but then also that's what makes him superhuman. Like the 24th So if you think about that, it's like the Spider-Man DNA,
the DNA
Damaverse.
It could be that. It could be, again, these are all just character traits that I thought about why. And to be honest, Castro, I'm not saying I know how hard it is, dude. I promise you. You and I, director, actor, trust me, I get it, bro.
For sure.
But the character traits, the set design, like there was a scene, and this I read about. I didn't pick it out of the lineup, but there's a scene in The Therapist where he's going up the stairs and there's a window with stained glass. And if you pause it, and I went back after I read it.
Oh no, wait, does it clean it?
No. If you pause it, there's 23 pieces of the stained glass.
Okay.
So like,
I like those.
Again, set design, character traits, that stood out to me more than the performance did this time around. The first time I watched it, I was like, holy shit, James McAvoy's a good actor. This time around, I paid attention more to like these character traits and why the yellow handkerchief and why does he walk through the trash and not around it, like they were saying in the film.
Yeah, I love that.
So I paid attention to that stuff, and it wasn't the performance that solidified that stuff for me. So
okay, I didn't see it for that perspective, but yeah, that does include for sure.
Also, as far as like little like background things, I love the one when he's the little kid. What is it? Hedwig, right?
Hedwig,
and it's a like a tight shot of Hedwig. and in the background it's blurred out because bokeh and all that, but you can see just a bunch of pictures of like boobs, and it's coming right off of the scene of like the therapist talking about it. But I mean, for it being something that the therapist describes as a trait that I think like one of the other personalities has, one of the other personalities is doing this, but then Hedwig has that in his room. It's this subtle kind of like directorial like foreshadowing of the fact that he's more connected to the heads than anybody else.
So yeah, he has the power to a certain degree. I mean, the fact the window thing too. I'm telling you, set design really has a lot. Like
it was impressive.
I don't know if you guys saw. Like I didn't know, especially even the second time around, that they were in a zoo until you start picking up on it, right? Like
yeah.
Well, that's just fault on you. You got to read.
Hedwig has pictures of animals in his room.
Yeah, he had the mice in his room also.
And then he had he has the gerbils or whatever, right? But no, like mice. There's drawn mice. Okay, they're drawn pictures.
You can tell they're mice because of the way that they're running in the wheel.
Oh, I got a mice guy over here. Okay,
we got a mice guy over here. Look at this. Dude, do you want to do this? Or is it...
They like to hunt in pairs. Anyway,
we make the money. But no, there's pictures of like tigers, of like pandas, bears, and they have names on them. Wow. Right? They have names on them. So like when you're at a zoo, they have fucking names for the animals, like little stuff like that, dude. Those are directorial traits. Those are directorial traits. That's what I'm saying. Like M. Night came back as a director for shit like that. You know,
I see what you guys are talking about. I get it.
I paid attention to that.
Just coming from my perspective, the technical wise, right? It's like you said, they only had 10 days to rehearse. Yeah. And if you when you're on set as an actor, sometimes certain scenes that you wish you had more time. Hey, we got three shots for this one.
And an actor spends more time waiting on set than he does performing, and that's true.
You know where I heard that from? From Will Smith and Independence Day. For some reason, that popped into my mind.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's true. No. It's true. You get a finite amount of time to perform.
Exactly.
It's true.
And I think Castro, like if you were in this role, I feel like you would have really felt that to do this well, you want enough time thinking about each of those characters so that way they come out distinct, defined. I mean, do whatever you can in your process so that way they really come out, you know.
Exactly.
Where in 10 days, you know, for like as many characters, it's just
I also appreciated the use of certain practical and special effects in this that I didn't expect. It's kind of that thing, like when you become a filmmaker and you watch enough movies, you already know how they do something, so you stop questioning it. And it's fun to be a kid again and be like, how did they do that? You know?
That's what I'm doing with the acting in this one.
So like when when the horde comes into play, right, and we see all the veins and we see the muscles, I thought like, that's an interesting use of either CG or a blend of CG and practical.
He got a little buff.
Yeah, I mean,
I know, but it helps.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The makeup and the use of like colorization of the veins and like all that. So I was like, oh, okay, like how did they do that? I want to. Because
he's pretty short too. He's like.
By the way, a cool kind of makeup effect that I've heard people use, and it got started from Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I forget if it was like the 1930s version or so, or probably later, maybe 50s. But basically what they did is that because everything was in black and white, they put like green paint or yellow paint on the actor. And then when they would go from yellow light to green light, well, yellow, everything blends in together, but then you shift it to green and it's super contrasty and would make him look like pale and, basically like completely changed the way he looked. Mm-hmm. It's something that still practically you can do here because the colorist can go and no.
Okay.
Fight me.
I'm gonna say it anyway. Shoot.
Go for it.
That's kind of just to kind of like jump on your train right there.
Jump on it.
Actually, if people here don't know,
jump harder.
I do the thumbnails for the YouTube show.
Oh,
and when I've done the monochrome ones like Casablanca, Mank, and stuff like that, actually what I do is that I actually paint segments in different colors, like red, green, red, and then I'll put in the monochrome filter to it. Mm-hmm. And depending on how it is, I get different shades and everything on it.
So that's
exactly what I do.
That's
cool.
Yeah, a little insider right there.
I mean, these practical. I mean, think about it, man. $9 million budget. You have to know how to use your money for shit, right? So,
For sure.
I think the practical side of things, again, it just impressed me. Like, okay, the use of practical and the use of CG in minimal areas just to enhance the practical.
That's true.
I love it, man. I love it. I think he did something really special. Final thoughts, guys, because we got, which is about getting.
And with these final thoughts, I want you guys to start ranking this one. What would you give it? 9.5.
And M Night's Film. Okay.
We started ranking.
No, yeah. Just like give me like a rank. Because me,
a wank
out of 10. How many? Would you guys
me,
give?
I'll start this off. Me, I would have given it obviously a 10, but I didn't like the ending. I wish he would have gotten a little bit more.
You wish it stayed
standalone
more?
Yeah, I wish it would have been a standalone movie for sure.
That's supernatural.
Okay.
So I would give it probably like a 9.6 because, man, that ending, like, I liked it. I love the ending. It's just, I thought it was going to go a different way, and I wish it would.
By the way, can we all agree that let's consider the ending before the post-credit scene? Or not post-credit scene, right? Before the Bruce Willis scene. Like,
before the
ending is her at the zoo in the cop car. Your uncle's here. That's the ending.
Yeah, that was such a good ending. If they had stopped it there, it would have been like, oh my god,
exactly.
How was she to say like that's the ending?
Like, I'm sorry, Yoko.
We didn't even get to talk about that. But I mean,
I'll get into that into my final thoughts. But yeah,
I know. But what a punchy ending. Just like, I mean, like, oh, your uncle's here, and after everything you see her mentally go through and kind of reliving that experience. Anyway.
Oh yeah, it's.
We missed that. Dropped the ball. Okay, so rank. Who's starting? Oh,
I'm sorry, but go for it. You're already in it, and then Yoko.
Oh God.
Well, my final thoughts for this one is I loved it. Obviously, the performance. I wish this is my dream role for sure. Dream role of. I mean, it's because on Glass you see more of his personality, so you get more of his feel. Like he's got way more range than
I love that type of character. If you don't know this by now, if you're listening, Castro's like my go-to guy when it comes to acting, right? And I put Castro in roles he doesn't want to be in, but he's a good actor.
I like the challenge.
But Castro has come to me previously and various times and said like, dude, I gotta play the villain, man. Just give me the villain role for once. Most actors want that juicy villain role. So again, I commend that because Castro, if I tell him, hey, play this for me, he's gonna say yes, and that's what I love about him. Yeah. He's my go-to guy. But I think it's interesting to know that you love this and this is your dream role, and you want to expand on that villainy kind of, you want to exercise that muscle. Yeah. You got to exercise that muscle for sure. Exactly. Anyways, I'll
go for it.
Anywho, okay, on a 10 scale.
God, hit it. Give it to me.
It's an 8.4. 8.4.
Okay, it's not bad.
I feel like it's higher because it's taking all these different genres and blending it together really well. I think it's something that's unique because as much as I tried to really place my thumb on it and say this is what they're doing, this is what they copied from other things, because I think now we're at the point where we're seeing where they took inspiration from. This one did a lot in its power to keep you off your step, so you always thought like, wow, that's different, that's cool. I really appreciate that. I think there were certain parts that if they were just a little bit more ironed out, who knows if it's a little bit more budget, playing with the character a little bit. I think
go for it.
Okay, but at least with this one, standalone, if they had ironed it out a little bit more, like the guys were saying, I think maybe this could have had Oscar potential. This could have had more potential, and it stopped a little short. It's so close, but it's still really strong, and it's still really unique. And 8.4 is like going to be my firm guess on it. Yeah,
that's solid. 8.4. I'll take it.
Yokomoto,
give it to me straight, man.
In my case, so
you got to say your rank first.
The movie in itself, it's
damn.
I go for
it. Around the same place, like right around 8.5. Tell the truth. Okay. I really liked. I always enjoy watching this movie. I remember it fondly and wanted to. But you put that stinger in there, and that stinger makes it a 9 for me.
Ooh, okay, that's a little bit better. That's an 8.
You can't imagine how nerd out I was with that, and I still have it here.
Wow,
that's awesome.
Okay,
and but I just have issues mostly with the dialogue wise.
Not too much,
But apart from that, I get the story. I love it. The acting, I love it. And the beginning scene, the kidnap scene, I love it.
Exactly, right? It sets you right into it. So what was the ranking?
9.
8.5 to 9.
8.5 to 9. Okay, it's better than a B- over here with De La Gangsta over here. But okay, Carlos.
You really don't want to hear mine.
The nerd.
Okay, Carlos, you have to be aggressive on your ranking only because you're the cinema paradiso man. Like, you can't tell me like, oh, cinema paradiso. It's
yeah, come on.
No, okay, so from the critic choice awards, most viewed of the Criterion list, man that you are.
If it makes you feel any better, Castro, this film was nominated for an MTV award.
Wow, that's sad, dude.
It was the best kiss.
It was that Moon Man.
Best kiss and best music video.
Man. Okay, listen. Again, my palate's not more developed than anybody because
it's pretentious.
From these guys, it's pretentious. From these guys, like we all have a very specific palate to what we like, and that's how cinema should be. I preface that by saying that, but I think
Say it with your chest, man. Say it with your chest.
I honestly, as it stands, I'd give this film.
Whoever hesitates masturbates.
7.
I was gonna say 6.9 to 7. Like
that's what I thought he was gonna go.
I already could feel it. I was already like, this guy is like.
Yeah, I give it a 7, man. I give it a fair 7. I think I give it a fair 7.
You better elaborate and just.
Are we gonna do this to every film? By the way, is that the new thing?
I guess from now on.
I guess so.
Wes Anderson 10. Everything else is like.
Wow, you went really low.
Yeah, I'm going at a 7, and let me tell you why. First of all, you're right, Dalal, we didn't elaborate because I wanted to elaborate more on directing than visually directing than this. But if Anya Taylor-Joy's arc didn't exist, I would have been utterly unimpressed and uninterested in this film.
Most obviously,
if her arc didn't exist, the flashback,
it would have just felt like a thriller.
It would have just felt like a thriller. And the interesting thing about all of that is that it's not even because that her struggles will become her strength. It's not that kind of fluffy shit that we talk. It's the fact that it gives us the ability to have a broken character, a really broken character, and that's what makes her the hero. Almost that's what gives her the ability, because the theme we didn't explore in this whole film that's very, very keen and very, very in your face about it is purity.
Yeah, that's
because that's kind of one of the big themes about Kevin's character, and I say Kevin, the Horde's character.
The Horde,
wanting to feast on pure, wanting to get it like the rest of the characters, almost giving them as an offering, a pure offering to the Horde, right? And then so he can feast on it and become bigger and evolve as a bigger human being, and dog eat dog type of shit. Like if you're a human and you're not an evolved human, then you're just a human that's going to get eaten. And there's again purity, right? So the fact that he looks at her and that end thing that he says to her, you're broken, and sees her scars, and I just think that arc to me is more important than anything, first of all. So I just want to say that if that arc didn't exist, I would have been uninterested. I would have been exactly what I expected.
Bro, even with the performance?
Wait, the second thing is that gives me that score. Dude, it could have been lower. Be grateful.
Whoa! Hey, those are fighting words, dude.
No, give me a second. It could have been lower, but the reason I say it to pick up what Dalal said about
that neck thing again.
Genre blend. You guys know that, like, I love to see the evolution of genre and how a 1960s Hitchcock thriller is like the standard for cinema, for classic cinema.
Yo, we're in 2021, bro.
But how it has evolved into a popcorn theme ride shit, right? So for this film, that's why I give this film high regard, because for him to be able to get genre and be inspired by Hitchcock flicks and modernize it, and then not become like a fucking Taken, or it not become like a fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's his name?
His own.
Liam
Neeson. So, yeah, Liam Neeson. So if for it to become its own thing and almost like save the genre for film lovers, that's big, man. That's big, because it's kind of like horror. Like I have this discussion with Eric Sanchez all the time. From 2005 to 2015, I didn't care about horror flicks, dude, because it was the same shit over and over again.
I think you stopped believing in them.
And I think Thriller.
Have a guide with you, bro.
I think Thriller. I know now. That's true. That's true. I think now thrillers were starting to get into that headspace for me. Like, it's just another fucking Disturbia. Or it's just.
I feel you.
And Night decided to kind of revamp it in a very unique cinematic way. So that's why it gets a 7, man. It gets a 7 for those reasons. But
there's C, man. That's a C gets you to passes you. Dude.
There's ton of inconsistent stuff. I don't want to talk about all the bad stuff because that's not the point. But there's just inconsistencies with the characters that I felt are the most important thing, especially for this picture, for this story. It's Kevin is the most, it has to be the most consistently good thing, and it's not,
That's why there's a trilogy. You're supposed to watch them. And
then you're right. I need to watch the full effect. But anyways, man, I was impressed. I was happy with the result because, again, I went into this like dreading it. I didn't want to watch it. I was kind of like, with a good reason, Castro,
Yeah, it's like you already seen that movie. Okay, I don't want to get into that mindset again.
There's no point for me to revisit it unless I really feel like watching it or something.
Right. I feel you on that point.
Mind you, I just got off watching like Police Story, and I went into Police Story thinking like, why is it Criterion? And then I'm like, holy shit, this is why it's Criterion. That's pretty good. Okay. Watch it, by the way. You guys should watch Police Story. But
Police Story.
So I got off that and got into this. So I just admire how much Night has really proved his ground. And how much he stands as a good cinematic storyteller. I mean, look, let me put it to you this way, dude. Night's not fucking what's his name? The Transformer guy.
Michael Bay?
Michael Bay.
Night's not Michael Bay.
He doesn't want to be
Night's significant steps above that.
Okay.
I mean, so I think as a chameleon, it's very impressive, man. Like for people to call him like the next Spielberg and the next Hitchcock, especially early in his career, I could see why. And I can see that he's still like, he hasn't given up, man. Like he's still trying to be a good cinematic storyteller. So
what you call him on a tour?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely, right? So he's got his own thing.
You see development definitely throughout like, his career, the filmography.
And what's more, he's passing the torch, dude. His daughter's a director now.
Oh.
That new show that you saw.
How you doing?
It's called the new show he's producing. What the fuck is it called?
Servant? The Servant?
The Servant. His daughter like directed most of the episodes or some shit.
Damn, look.
Yeah. And she's like supposed to be like this really good director now. So he's passing the torch, man. And I hope he's showing.
Has the new M. Night movie come out? The one they're on the beach and they're getting old and they're young people.
No, with Gael Garcia.
Yeah, Guy Fieri.
Yeah.
Dude, I sent it to this guy in the Super Bowl and I was like, come on, that's M. Night all day.
I told you, right? I think I told you guys were like, oh, this looks different, M. Night. This is interesting. Like I'd be interested in watching this. And by the way, it's one of the ones on the list. They released a list of 15 or 25 films to look out for the next Oscars 2022. So they're already talking about like the new Leo picture with Jennifer Aniston, the star-studded or Jennifer Lawrence, the star-studded fucking comedy that's supposed to come out. They're talking about this. They're obviously talking about Wes Anderson's picture. They're talking about Dune. They're talking so yeah, that M. Night's is one of the ones that they're like, look out. It might surprise you. So
all right.
Okay.
I think we've given our opinions.
Yeah, my bad. We went way into it, dude.
It's about that time.
That's what this podcast is for, man.
Ooh, everybody's favorite segment, Yokomoto stepping up to the plate.
About that time, I see. Okay, well, welcome to the Tower Crown.
Yep.
Great show where we just debate anything we want to debate about.
That's right.
I'm still trying out different slogans, so just let me know which one.
Go for it, man. Play with it.
Apples and bananas, we'll find out here.
Yeah, we all like mango.
So for this debate show, I thought, well, let's get into the whole split personality disorder.
Ooh, okay.
So let's go explore those movies.
Right.
And so I put up a poll up on Facebook, which included movies like...
What's the number one? What's the first?
Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh, dude, no way.
Tim Carroll.
Dude, talking about split.
That's interesting.
Psycho. Of course.
Of course.
Hide and seek. Little fact about this. This was my first makeout movie.
Oh, dude, I remember that. See, those are
That's
good
why I
memories.
Sorry to
remember
hear
fondly.
about that.
That nocturnal bus.
I'm sorry to hear.
And Fight Club.
Oh, I feel like it's me,
By the way,
myself, and
people,
Irina's
sorry
class.
for all the spoilers of all these movies.
Yeah, ahead of time, man.
Okay, so you all decided, and this is
the
what
winner.
it came up. Psycho against Fight Club.
Oh, Fight Club all day, all night. You don't talk about Fight Club.
So then what are you talking about?
I'm out.
Shut your mouth.
All right. So for here, I'm guessing Michael that I was going to be the moderator. For this
I
one, right?
am moderating, ladies and
All right.
ladies.
And Castro, you're doing Fight Club, if I'm correct.
Bro, I mean,
We'll
who's gonna help? I'll go for it.
Bam.
But are you gonna? Who's gonna
Bam.
go?
You want to do Psycho?
I'll go Fight Club. 'Cause I love Fight Club.
Fight Club. Okay. Well, Carlos de la Torre, I know you want to do Psycho.
You'd have to be going mad. Damn it! You have to go mad to do Psycho.
Unpopular
Oh, you
opinion.
want
I'll
to
do
do Fight
Psycho.
Club?
I'll do Psycho. No, I'll do Psycho. Shit, that's hard, man. Between these two, let me explain why.
Honestly,
Unpopular opinion. Psycho is one of my least favorite Alfred Hitchcock films. So
You're one of mine.
so I don't know, Yoko. Do you got enough Psycho in you? Or you want me to take it over?
You know what? I'll give you this one.
All right, I'll do Psycho.
Especially because like you're already on your Hitchcock train.
That's true. Off the last episode, that's a good
Yeah.
point. All right, yeah. Let's talk about it.
All right, let me start. Let me start with Fight Club.
Yeah. You start. You
All
kick it
right.
off.
What Delo? What's up?
Oh no, I was gonna
First
say
punch.
I got kicked off the Tower Crown for losing too much anyway, so I'm gonna moderate.
We're gonna bench you for a couple of episodes.
I'm benched. I got benched.
I lost like a good 4 or 5 in the row. The loss. So
Yeah, but it's because you were going too hard, Carlos. You were just we had to put you down.
yeah.
Anyway, back at it. Fight Club.
That's
Fight Club.
so-
Anyway, Fight Club.
Oh wait, I should preface this. Okay, I guess the first question obviously is going to be which is a better film, and then I'll come in with the second question. So yeah,
Austin, there's your intro, dude. How many times between me and Delao and Yoko? How many times do we say I should preface this? There's your intro.
Yeah.
the pretentious bastards we are. Look at that.
Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Well,
I should.
Yeah.
go for it.
Now, I was just gonna say, I'm ready.
You ready, Delo?
Yes.
I'm not. Look, man, Fight Club. It's on David Fincher. I remember I first saw it when it came out in 1999, dude. I remember when I first watched it, I had no idea what was going on. I remember seeing my mom and my dad's reaction. They were like, "He's got a split personality. What the hell was that about?" So I think this one was a little bit ahead of its game, I guess, in this type of genre. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of Brad Pitt's best performances. Like, obviously, we get a couple of different ones, but this one's kind of like, I wouldn't say peak because he's hit a lot of peaks.
Sure.
But Brad Pitt and Edward Norton are a good duel for this one. Like, it's a perfect combination. Hey, man, I'm trying to reach here, man.
It's one of the
like you can imagine Brad Pitt
Sorry,
being a personality from Edward Norton.
Exactly, right? I mean, this is what it's all about. Like, it's the cool part of Edward Norton, right? He's the cool
I
part.
will say it's one of the 3 films I actually enjoy at Edward Norton, and I know he's a good actor, dude, but I think he's kind of overhyped, dude.
Yeah, that's like, which ones are the 3? It's American History X,
American History X, Birdman, and Fight Club.
Yeah,
and a notable mention, Rounders.
It's
And
not
any
as
Wes
big a film as
Anderson
the-
film.
for sure.
Any Wes Anderson film?
And he's really good as Bruce Banner as well.
Compared to like
Mom's
these
good
type
as
of
Bruce
roles.
Banner.
Heard of Ruffalo? Nobody beats Ruffalo out, brother. That's just anyway. Sorry, I'm sorry. I just want to say.
No, I'm reaching here, man.
You got stuck on the rough of love, didn't you?
Here's the thing. The style in this movie is amazing.
That's what I was gonna say. Like the vibe. This is how we start getting the
This is
vibe
the
of
culmination of the 90s right here.
Fincher for sure, dude. Like he perfects this type of vibe of like gloomy, dark.
Correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong. This felt like a really good an example of I guess like graphic novel type of approach to storytelling?
I would not know how you guys know more.
I mean, think about like a graphic novel that's not your typical superhero comic book, like Mouse or like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Like it kind of felt like Fight Club was in that same kind of transitional style, and like
I can see what you're saying.
Like a dark, like if Frank Miller wrote Fight Club, like that's what.
Okay, yeah.
Like I could definitely see like the sprites of them as
you
turn the page.
I felt like that was the style to it when I first watched it. But anyways,
and then also like, it's one of those films that you have to watch 3 or 4 times. We're talking about that with Carlos with Split, where you catch these little subtleties that the director either places there or not. I think this one does one of those beautifully. Like you go back, and you're like, oh, dude, he did kind of reach over like that, and he wasn't there.
The punch or
exactly the punch or the guy that what was that scene? You remember that scene where he steals his wallet or something, and he's like, tomorrow he's gonna be the best version of himself or something like that. Those are good scenes.
You know what impacts me the most about Fight Club?
Just starts beating him up. Like he goes mugs him.
I don't know.
What type of name is this?
But the thing that impacts me about Fight Club the most, or the thing I remember the most, like after seeing it so many times, for some reason, is the soap thing.
What do you mean?
The soap thing. The whole.
I mean, it took me a couple of times, but it was the bomb making thing.
Yeah, I mean, no, I get that. That's kind of the underlying kind of motivating plot.
Fuck yeah, like
whatever. But I don't know. No, and that's not a bad thing. It's just like for some reason when I think of Fight Club, I think of the soap and the factory and the pigs and the fucking process of.
Well, especially that is kind of like the whole thing about that. That's one of the metaphors also.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's also the poster shot, right? You see the fucking on the bar of soap. You write Fight Club,
and the fact that he is a soap maker.
Why it stands out so much to me that I don't know why. When I remember Fight Club, I remember pig skin and soap. Like I don't know, like it just throws me back to that scene for some reason. But anyways, I'm sorry.
Well, that's my first round. Go for it.
It's tough. It's tough with Fight Club. My argument with Psycho is going to be because I really enjoy Fight Club. I like Fincher. My favorite Fincher film, like I said, is a Social Network, but it's Fight Club's it's up there for sure. I like Fight Club better than Seven, if that tells you anything. I do.
Yeah, but it's got the same vibe for sure. It's got that always at night type of feel type.
Yeah. Without geeking out too much, that also is attributed to like the use of digital and being able to shoot at night without so much lighting.
And then they just
you see in that like in like Collateral, like they're driving through the freeway and the night and the skylights and stuff like that. So that's a tribute to shooting on digital versus film, and I
like that stuff. That's something I want to incorporate.
The Viper camera was a big deal when shooting that type of stuff. Anyways, Psycho, it's going to be the same argument as last time, dude. I think it's set up. Psycho is defined as a psychological horror thriller. What I love about Psycho is that it's set up the genres. If you're a horror fan, you love Psycho. If you're a thriller fan, you love Psycho. If you're, you know what I mean? If you're a psychological thriller fan, you go back to Psycho and you go back to Norman Bates and you go back to his character development and his mom's. And what's fun about that is like, if you go to, by the way, if you're lucky enough to go to Universal Studios in Hollywood, you take the backlot tour, they take you to the Bates Motel and they take you to the house, the Psycho house.
Sweet.
So like you could see those are the actual sets where they shot the film and shit like that. So it's a fun thing to look at. But I think Hitchcock set up the genre, set up the modernization of the horror thriller genre. Everybody, if you're M. Night, if you're Fincher, if you're Mike Flanagan, I mean you're a Psycho fan.
Except for that one remake, right? There was one remake that's considered the worst.
And the remake,
the worst.
The remake, yeah, it got bad reviews and Razzies and shit, but it was not that sad. The director of Good Will Hunting, like my favorite film of all time. It was fucking good. Gus Van Sant.
Damn.
He's a damn good director. He just wanted to literally make a shot-for-shot remake of Psycho.
Why? Why though?
There was no box office intention. He just loved the film so much that he wanted to place himself in that. I think it was like the 40th anniversary of Psycho or some shit, and they wanted some shit to add to the Blu-ray and the
no.
features. and he just wanted to do a shot. Literally, he wasn't going to shy away the fact that this was going to be a shot-for-shot remake. So that's a Gus Van Sant thing. He's just weird. He's a weird director, but he's awesome. If you haven't seen like Milk or fucking, I don't know, My Own Private Idaho, he's just a weird dude, but he's a damn good filmmaker. Anyways, yeah, I think just Psycho, that's kind of my opening argument. He set up the genre. He set up this thing. The thing that came before this, and I know you've mentioned this a lot, Yoko, is Diabolique. And kind of it was a predecessor to Psycho. Isn't that, weren't you the one that told me about that?
I myself wasn't the one that mentioned it. If you,
it might have been Eric. Somebody mentioned Diabolique about me. It's a 1955 picture. And after Hitchcock saw Diabolique, he wanted to make Psycho. So it kind of like, again, European influence and like him wanting to expand American cinema into not shying away from like the shooting of this film is so iconic. It's iconic. When I tell you that Hitchcock invented camera shots that weren't used before, that are now overly used and oversaturated, just think about the shower scene alone. The shower scene alone will kind of give you the dynamic of this picture, and the knife and the blood that was chocolate, by the way, since it was shot in black and white. It was chocolate sauce, literally, for that scene. The contrast between black and white and red, at least what we picture red, and the shots and the suddenly, and by the way, come on, like Bernard Herrmann did the fucking score, and if it wasn't the most iconic score, I mean, he did Psycho, he did Citizen Kane, he did Taxi Driver. This was fucking Bernie Herrmann doing the score for Psycho, and he's already a legendary composer. The score is synonymous with the film, right? We don't think of Psycho without thinking of you know? So, Bernard Herrmann, another thing. So, yeah, opening arguments.
All right. So, next question on the table to either save or doom you.
Yeah.
We're talking about split personality pictures. How does yours take on the split personality picture and make it unique and distinct?
That's good.
Well, in this one, it's, who's the writer? David Fincher, right? I feel like we're talking about it, like the subtleties. I think the writing of, what was the question again?
Like, what makes this a really good split personality picture? Like
I was saying, like with the writing, like you get little subtle hints, throughout the film.
You already have like a leg up there, bro. Don't take advantage because
it's because I didn't really know about
split personality in Fight Club. It's like the quintessential picture. Just argue it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I like how you go back and you see like the subtle hints that you give you, and then at the end you get the twist where I love that shot where they're in the room, in the hotel room, and he's sitting behind on the chair and he's on the bed. I love that scene where he's like, think about it, and boom, it just hits you, and he starts thinking about, oh shit, I was alone. I think it's just a very modern, like, I don't know, Psycho, but it's just a very modern way of saying that. Yeah. I'll throw you one. I'll throw you one there, Castro. I think Fight Club set up like if you're gonna have a big reveal, and M. Night type of reveal, you're gonna shoot a film the way Fight Club was shot. Yeah. In terms of like having the two characters across from each other, in terms of having them right there, opposite sides of the screen, and literally split down the middle of the screen. Yeah, like if you're gonna set something up like a big reveal like that, you're gonna shoot it a specific way, and I think Fincher did that successfully with Fight Club for sure. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
I told you it's tough for me. I love Fight Club and Psycho too. But anyways,
yeah, I mean, I love Fight Club too. It's just I don't like. There's just so many things.
let me throw this at you. Let me ask you this. I'm trying to help you guys. I know.
Thank you, Matt.
What about the subtleties? Like, what about Brad Pitt's performance is gonna tell me that he's a branch of Edward Norton's character?
Dude, I love who's the girl that's always coming out with Johnny Depp?
Oh, she's the Harry Potter chick. Yeah.
She's like the Fieri.
Helena Bonham Carter.
She's like the middleman, to this script, right? Like,
she Tim Burton's wife?
I have no idea.
Was yeah, right. They were married at some point or something.
Weren't we all?
Anyways, Helen
Carter.
Helen DeGeneres.
No, but I feel like, she was like the middleman, and when he starts going back and thinking about it, like when she hears her having sex, and it's just her like, what's going on? Like he doesn't see her, but you know, it's Brad Pitt, right? But in his head is like, no. That's what I like about it, man. And it's a cool movie, and I'll watch it again if I have to.
You know what, Castro? It rhymes more with Schmite Club. So
exactly.
There you go. Schmite.
Yoko, help me out, Yoko.
Well, it's
I'm drowning over here.
Is going towards Fight Club.
It's because there's a lot to say about Psycho, especially in that regard. So I'm just trying to.
It's because it's kind of like Psycho. It's an old school one. Yes, everything came from that. Like it's old school. Like that shower scene, it's cool, but it's been moderated. It's gotten better.
In regards to Delal's question, Norman Bates is like, I think it's got to be up there hand in hand with like No Country for Old Men in terms of like the psychopaths, the sociopaths characters, you know. Norman Bates, and especially like the reimagining with American Psycho and Christian Bale, right?
Right.
And that's that whole split. Like you have to be professional and happy and smiling, and you know, with certain people, and then they don't realize you're lining up your fucking apartment to commit a murder. So I think the Norman Bates character is that in terms of split personalities. Like he's definitely one person with a certain group of people, and then with other when he's by himself or when he's getting his victims. He knows exactly what he's doing, and isn't it almost like Hereditary in the sense of like Virginia Gregg well, there was two actresses who played the mom, Norma Bates, and like that whole interconnection with these people are just fucked up, like they're just fucked up out of their mind, and I think just Anthony Perkins playing Norman Bates in this particular sense was what we needed to see in the 60s to transition psychological thrillers. It's almost like if Cary Grant played Norman Bates or if fucking Humphrey Bogart played Norman Bates, like maybe we wouldn't have believed that. But, you know, Anthony Perkins really fulfilled that side of like big smiles and happy and giddy and your typical nuclear family type of deal. And then we have the fucking killer that's gonna turn around and do something. So yeah, I think in terms of split personality, it's
well, we also get that with
sociopath in the mind of a sociopath.
Well, we also, like you're saying, for the 60s, I think also for the 90s, towards the end, 99, we also get the Edward Norton struggling through work, struggling through life, and finally has that breaking point, that snap.
The everyman.
Yeah, the everyman of, you know what, man, I'm gonna do what I want. This boss is on my ass. You know what? I'm gonna hit myself. And do you remember that scene where he starts hitting himself?
Yeah,
you bastard. Yeah. So I think it's one of those 90s, like you were saying, the 60s, that we needed those in the 90s. That
define the era almost. Like
exactly. That. People going through those stuff where it's like it's too much right now. You know, technology is just getting better and better. It's getting too much.
I think
everybody hits a breaking point.
Those questions has always been, when he's moderating, has always been like, how did this push the art form forward, right? I don't know that. I think that Fight Club helped develop the genre for the turn of the century, turn of the period. But I think, Psycho like pushed the medium forward. It pushed the genre forward more than.
Okay, here I got this one.
I think Fight Club for nowadays, man. It's that split personality, the hidden.
I gotta piggyback on you, Castro.
Go for it. I need it, man.
Yes, Carlos, you do say that Psycho did evolve kind of like the horror genre there, with the way it was portraying it.
I think it did two genres in one without even trying.
But Fight Club, the way it actually progressed it even more, actually was the fact that it used it more as a metaphor.
Okay.
It encapsulated the whole society in this dual system that they were either we either stay conveniently placed in our own perfect little jobs,
cubicle,
or we become that person,
right?
Which in the end we still kind of become enslaved to that other person.
That's fair. That's fair in terms of the split personality.
So the fact that it's using more as a metaphor than an actual.
That's a fair point, but I don't know that. I mean, I don't know. Is the split personality thing? Would you guys consider it a subgenre? Is there enough movies that deal with that?
I think that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like this one pushes it. I think Fight Club pushed it into a new genre.
Schizophrenic.
That's why we got the split genres. We could,
I just feel like in terms of the horror genre and the psychological thriller genre and the thriller genre, I feel like if Psycho didn't exist, neither would Rosemary's Baby, or neither would Taxi Driver in terms of the psychological kind of aspects to things.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're going with
so I think, and you got me there in terms of the split personalities thing with Fight Club. I think it does something for that subgenre.
Exactly.
But I think the Psycho is just a broader, bigger picture. Like it's developing the horror genre and the thriller genre as a whole and pushing that medium forward. So yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point.
Fight Club is actually pushing the medium of the fight of the man, the fight of the identity of the man.
Okay. I mean,
the law. Did you hear that? Yeah.
I don't know. We see enough internal struggle in Fight Club for sure, but I think that the internal struggle for Psycho doesn't necessarily come with Bates. It comes with the audience. Like you either hate this guy or you're rooting for him because he's kind of your protagonist. We only know him as a protagonist at the point, right? At least towards the beginning of the film. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to really.
Hello, any final questions?
What's for dinner? No, I have no final questions.
This was rough, man.
It was.
I just didn't damn, I should have done my homework.
I'm gonna say a side note. I love the one thing I love about moderating, along with like hearing all these different answers, is the fact that I get to look at my text messages with Yoko, and it's just films that like I've listed down, like that one. Like this is all the times I've played God. Just
that's funny.
Oh man! All right.
So I got the vote in. Do we want to know? Do we want to say anything else? No. Okay. Well, that was your last chance.
I was just so excited to talk about Split. That's why I blanked out with this.
Yeah.
So the winner of this one is Psycho.
I wasn't prepared for. I legit usually.
Even after Carlos helped me with a.
If you know what's crazy? On my list, because I kind of go off of points. I'm like, this is a strong point, that's a strong point. And whenever like a point's revisited, then I don't mark it as something new. You guys were exactly equal. I did not there was no kind of like tipping, but what I am going to say was stronger in the Psycho argument compared to the Fight Club one is that Fight Club's iconic, but it's iconic for being Fight Club, and Psycho's iconic for what it does to the genre and what goes after it. Everybody's
it's the base. Obviously, it's like the
Fight Club has a weird thing where it's.
I didn't like that, Delo. I didn't like that at all.
What do you mean?
I would consider it a cult classic to a certain degree because it has a cult following, but it's also mainstream appreciated Fight Club, but it's more of a cult. It's kind of, I don't know how to put it.
It's a little culty, but I mean,
a little culty.
There's also the thing that
everybody. Yeah, I'll give you that. Psycho's not cult. Yeah,
Psycho is.
But it's
they'll play it at the theaters again because they know people want to see Psycho, or people will rent it just for the holidays and all that.
Fight Club, no.
Yeah, I have never rented that for the holidays. What holiday am I going to put it in? Thanksgiving? Wrong, sir.
Black Friday, actually.
Let me put it this way. No. Let's put it this way. Psycho will go through Fathom events to be shown in every Cinemark in the country, but Fight Club is just going to have one Saturday at Alamo. And trust me.
No, it's like those classic albums. They're classic because they're so old.
I prefer no. It's popular though. I mean,
that's the basis. I get it. It's where everything came from.
Like Carlos was saying,
Psycho.
It was a turn of the century film. It was something that was either going to keep that kind of horror genre into the classic movies, or it was going to perpetuate it forward, and this one perpetuated it forward, and it did it successfully. It had,
let me put it this way. Let me ask you this, and this will be my final thought.
Yeah.
From Final Club, from Fight
there
Club.
We go. Destination 5.
Final Club. It's because I saw Final Club. I never saw Fight Club. From Fight Club, what films do you kind of see that aren't David Fincher films? Do you see it stem off Fight Club?
Kind of like Jordan Peele or even Split.
You put Fight Club in this big like a tree, right? Like, and then you see the branches off of like, well, it probably was inspired by this, or kind of. Where do you see like what?
Okay, now, at the top of my head, I really can't think of, but at least it starts that conversation. If you're saying that it wasn't there, I mean, at least it's there, keeping it up. You know what I mean? It's Fight Club. It's about split personalities. It's more realistic.
You know what happens?
Fight Club.
I think here's the challenging part with Fight Club. It falls into kind of that cult classic area that we talked about, kind of, or Carlos mentioned, where like if you look at Pulp Fiction, everybody agrees Pulp Fiction's great. But then it starts to become kind of in that niche market where you can't see other people like going and expanding the genre of Pulp Fiction. You only see like Tarantino that he'll go and revisit it, but it's because it's his style. It's
You can't make another Fight Club. You can't make another Pulp Fiction.
You can't.
Exactly.
But from Pulp Fiction, you see films like, like Bad Times at the El Royale, maybe, or like, like these kind of films that stem from like the Pulp Fiction. Kind of
and to some degree, I'll say that Fight Club does kind of, like you said, establish a good way to execute the reveal. Like people want to copy that reveal, but they don't want to copy Fight Club. And that's the kind of issue.
They don't know
because maybe because it was just so perfectly done. It was just
it's
now everybody's
unique.
expecting it, but back then it was like,
it's an exclusive club. It's an exclusive club, though.
Now it's expected. Now it's expected.
It's almost like that pretentious thing, like. If you haven't seen Fight Club as a film fan, like it's one of the 100 films to watch or whatever, like it's an exclusive club. You have to watch Fight Club.
Right.
And again, it's culty to the point where anytime anybody says, dude, Fight Club, oh no, you don't talk about Fight Club. Like even the line from it, like it's very culty. But
it's like one of those, like today,
here's the thing.
You put somebody like whatever age, 20-year-old, you put Psycho or Fight Club. Which one do you think he's gonna want to watch? Exactly. It's just
everybody watches Psycho though, because Psycho's just like
who's gonna sit through the whole movie? That 20-year-old.
Okay.
Psycho or Fight Club.
But that's with all due respect to that.
That's what Fight Club does. It's better.
But that, with all due respect to that, that's a commentary on society today.
I know. I know, man.
No, and also I'll say this. If you're gonna show somebody like an older film, black and white, and you're trying to convince them. Yeah, you're gonna try to convince them. Like, I swear, black and white films aren't just old timey, weird, silent films. Like, they can be good. And you show them Psycho, they're gonna believe that they're good. Yeah, they're gonna value the merit in that.
Well, if they have the palette that we have for film.
You had something to say.
Yeah. To kind of like go into the culty thing. So Psycho actually was a box office smash. Like, it improved. Like, Fight Club.
You're my box office smash.
Flopped. It flopped.
Yeah, it did flop.
It's like until it was VHS. VHS is when it got its legs.
Was a bomb?
Yeah, dude, nobody understood it. Nobody understood it. That was the beauty of it. That it was ahead of its time.
But yeah,
it's for the time. Like, I thought
crazy.
They didn't know how to market it at that point.
Yeah, that's the definition of cult movies, dude. That's the
definition.
Yeah, and as you know,
under the radar,
we always pick the more popular film at the end for some odd reason. Honestly, it's not even a bias thing. It's just that there's something about the success that comes from it and what it does when it is.
That's what we wish.
The reason it was successful,
for sure.
That's what we wish for us as creators.
But that's what happens. This is I'm gonna probably get beat up by Castro show.
No, man, this episode took a
eye-opening,
different direction for sure. But I love it.
Anyways,
it's great. It was great.
I love it.
Yeah, they're both great pictures. We're at the 2-hour mark, guys. I'm sure people listening in are like, okay, get fucking
tired.
over it.
They're sleepy. Yeah,
the Psycho. No, but thank you guys for tuning in, man. Any final thoughts on any of these films, man? Anything from Split to Psycho?
If anybody's still hearing us after 2 hours, you'll appreciate where I'm coming from with the acting perspective on Split and in Fight Club.
Yes.
Split for me was under the rug, I think, when it came out, because I didn't know if it was just going to be another thriller, but definitely a unique choice, Castro. Like, I appreciated it so much, and I'm glad that you were able to make me revisit it, because oh wow, a Split poster. I didn't even notice that.
I have to.
Yoko, any final thoughts?
Yokomoto, bring that heat, baby.
Yokomotive.
I like having an excuse to watch this movie again. I like this movie.
Thank you.
Even with my problems with it, I still like it.
It's got holes and issues. I get it.
Yeah.
Who doesn't have a hole?
Yeah.
We all have a couple.
But yeah, like now, if you haven't watched it, you're all the way here. Like, damn, like you should have watched it beforehand.
Yeah, exactly right.
But
no, rewatch it.
But
rewatch.
Rewatch take it a watch. Give it a watch. It is good. It is good.
It's a good psychological thriller.
Absolutely. I think Knight did a good thing, because when we think about Split, we don't think of 5 years ago. It feels more recent than that.
True.
No, it feels more recent than that. So I think Knight again set up this ability to like remodernize the genre and revamp it, and
with a $9 million budget
2 years ago.
Glass was 2 years ago, and you see that feels dated. Oddly enough, right? Like Split doesn't feel dated, but Glass feels kind of dated, right? I don't know. Maybe just
it's got a different vibe. I'll give you that, but definitely watch it, man. It's got some Wes Anderson kind of picturesque.
I definitely from watching Split, I want to kind of rewatch them all and see them, and like how they put together, because Split was one of those sleepers for me. I didn't think it was going to be a sleeper and then come and hit hard, but it really was good.
Just for the technique, man. The technical is just amazing.
Technique.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in, man. My consensus too is rewatch it, especially if you watched it originally. I haven't revisited it in 5 years, and I was pleasantly surprised. And again, it's one of those movies where like I hope Castro, I mean it this time, dude. Your next pick better be a fucking comedy, because I too just want to chill and watch something fun. You know,
that's true.
In the pretentious mindset, right? So
I got you guys.
We went from 8.5,
and that is why we're watching Death Sentence.
Blades
for
of
the next
Glory.
one.
Death Sentence. We're going to be watching James Wan's Death Sentence, and we're going to be reviewing it for the next WatchTower podcast. Make sure to look out on In the Mind of Yoko for that poll, because it's going to be an interesting one. He picked the film and he's picking the polls, so make sure to check that out.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you guys for tuning in, man. This was a great episode. Great time to talk about Split and what M. Night is doing and how he's revamping stuff. And make sure to check it out. Make sure to keep listening to us on all major podcasting platforms. Tell your friends who love cinema or who just want to get more in cinema and hear it this way about this and about the Tower Cast. We got some exciting stuff coming up. Thank you to Yoko, man. I know you mentioned it, and we haven't mentioned it in a long time, but Yoko is doing all the artwork, the thumbnails. He's even currently doing a really special poster for a film we just finished, which is going to be fun to see.
48 hours,
yeah. So make sure and check everything he's doing out. Make sure to check out the polls. Thank you guys for tuning in, man. Message us. Make sure to submit films, man. We've had it happen before, and they were fun conversations. So submit your films, your picks, and we'll talk about them. Thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on the WatchTower podcast.
Take care,
everybody. Love you guys.